good to see you again after the long vac. You know, we had our long vac over the past couple of days, and I've missed every single one of you. So yeah, good evening and welcome again to another session of Founder Institute WASBOS, right? And I am your favorite host. Oh, no, your favorite host. I am your unpopular host, Ifedi. I want to hear your voices. You know, just turn on your mics and say hi, guys. You know, let's hear each other.
Yeah.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hello, Ifedi. Where is one day?
Hello, Ifedi.
Oh, you want one day? You don't like my face?
No, we like your face, so.
But you prefer one.
We just want the virus.
We're used to the virus, you know.
The virus has infected us, Abi.
Yeah, so.
Ifedi,
You're welcome.
Good to have you.
Welcome to have you, Ifedi.
Good to have you. I am sure the past couple of days would have been days of bliss for all of you because, you know, it was like there was no FIA there. Nobody was breathing. You had all of 2 weeks, you know, to tidy up your deliverable after the mental idea review. Even though it breaks my heart to know that almost half of you are yet to turn in the assignments. But yeah. I also want to congratulate you because that you were able to make it through the mental idea review means that you're building something that is remarkable. You're building something that solves a real problem, and you're doing something that will make impact. So I want to encourage you to keep building. I know right now, going forward, the pressure is going to be, if the pressure, you know, the pressure is going to double actually because your deliverables going forward are not only going to take more time from you, it's also going to need you to invest a lot, because this is the time that you have to start actually going to market. Okay, so incorporate your company, build your MVP, go to market, and that's a lot of investment. It will take time, resources, emotions. This is the time that some of you whose girlfriends were wondering if they should stay or leave will decide that finally I think I should go. This guy has gone. Some of you will have to be absentee mothers. Some of you know, a lot of very funny and crazy stuff will happen. But I always like to tell people that, you know, if you keep your eye on the goal, if you know what you're making these sacrifices for, to build wealth, you will be glad that you did, and it will be worth it. So I want to encourage you not to give up. We're here to help. We're here to support. You can always reach us. You know, I always tell you in the office hours that, you know, the session is just so that we do the session, but I am available. I am sure one day is also available. I know one day meets with some of you even past midnight. You know, so yes, CFA is available, Rotimi is available, Bola is available, Chika is available, and Adeniyi, who just joined us, is available for some of you who have questions around valuation and all of that. You know, in the coming days, we will let you know how you can access in office hours so that you can have some of those conversations. Right, so this evening is going to be legal. We're talking legal, and as you know, legal is very important. But at the same time, they say it's boring. So our session structure might, you know, we tweaked it a little, so it will be a little bit different from what it normally is. There will be no instructor-led session where the mentors via their presentations. So what's going to be happening this evening is that we're going to be answering the questions that you generated so that we are sure that we are speaking to real needs and that the conversation tonight will not be flying over your heads. So before we start, okay, let me also say, so the group presidents, because of our time, we might not be able to take the reports from the group. So please send an email to one day and copy all the other directors, your reports for the week, except any group that feels there's something that they need to share with us, then you can indicate so that we'll take that. Otherwise, you just do that via email so that, we can maximize the time we have tonight. Any team breakers? We're good, right? How fast? Hello, are the group leads here?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're good.
We're good, right?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Great. Fantastic. Okay, so before we go into the pitches, I want to say something, and I think that will help. Give what's it called now? That will help give context to some of the questions or some of the questions that some of you are asking me privately. A couple of years ago, when I first started to the startup body of knowledge, the whole startup construct and what it means, I remember reaching out to a very respected senior colleague, very exceptional, doing very well, highly respected in his circles. And I reached out to him and I asked him that I wanted a sample of a shareholders agreement because I wanted to see what it looked like. And
I know you take normal call, unless like internet call, because I did for meeting.
Somebody's mic needs to be muted. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying, I reached out to this colleague and I asked him, and then he said to me, there's no such thing as a shareholders agreement. I didn't understand it because I knew I heard about it. It had come up in several conversations, so I wanted to see what it looked like. But here was a lawyer with several years of practice with and doing very well, saying to me that there was no such thing as a shareholders agreement. Well, fast forward to 5 years later, a couple of months back, I was just thinking about it and I just decided to reach him again. So I asked him, I said, there was a time I was asking you about a shareholders agreement. I don't know if you have, if you have that now. I would like to, not because I needed it anymore, but because I needed to confirm, some suspicions. And then he said to me, I have told you before, there is no such thing as a shareholders agreement. The only agreement that exists between shareholders is in the articles of association, so except that's what you're asking for. And I remember speaking to another colleague and asking them that I needed some clarity around vesting. How does vesting of shares work? And he said to me that there is no such thing as vesting of shares, that there is only allotment of shares, right? And I am sure that most of you listening to this will wonder, is that one a good lawyer? Is that one even a lawyer? If you don't understand shareholders agreement and you don't understand vesting of shares. The truth is, yes, they are good lawyers, but just like in every other profession, there are several tracks. So it is possible that someone is a litigation lawyer, but is not a corporate lawyer. It's possible that even for a corporate lawyer, that their practice is industry focused. There are those whose practice is also industry agnostic, but then they are sector, so for example, they are dealing with micro businesses only, or some are dealing with only businesses in the financial services industry, even though they are corporate lawyers, but they cannot serve clients in manufacturing, they cannot serve clients in technology, and it is what it is. So that doesn't make them bad lawyers, but it's just what it is. And I want to say this because in my conversation with most of you, I've heard all sorts. You know, some people talk about the fact that they have a family lawyer, so that they don't understand why FI will be asking them to onboard, you know, a lawyer. Or, you know, some of you will say, I had a lawyer who helped me incorporate, but then I asked certain questions. I find out that, you know, this person cannot help you. So I'm trying to encourage you. And then again, some of you will talk about the costs. Like they say, we've researched all these law firms that you guys are bringing. They are very expensive. They're very expensive. But I like to tell people that the mistakes that they are going to help you avoid, they are way, way more expensive than whatever it is they are going to charge you. And of course, they have graciously agreed to, every single one of them have agreed to a deferred payment arrangement just because they understand what it means to, you know, to bootstrap and to try to give life to an idea, startup, especially in a very challenging environment like Nigeria, where there is almost no infrastructure. You have to provide everything for yourself. So we're glad to have them. And the only thing I can advise is that you take advantage of the fact that they are here and the kind of concessions that they are given in terms of, you know, fee deferrals and discounts, just so that you don't make the. I remember that a couple of days back, there was very vigorous conversation, and it was quite elaborate around the current trending saga between Alta Semper Capital and Buki George of Health Plus. And you know, one of the things that stood out with everybody is like, if, you know, I'm sure that if he was a good lawyer, then some of the loopholes that the story revealed shouldn't have been there. So you don't want to go that way. You want to be sure that the lawyer who is representing you understands your industry, understands the ecosystem, understands investors, knows the pitfalls that you need to avoid. And that's why we have carefully curated them. Irene, please, can you just quickly share what you shared with me? Don't mention the name of the law firm, but what one of your lawyers told you about one of the law firms that are on this call. Is Irene here? Hi, Irene. Okay, looks like she's not. She's here, but looks like she's not. All right. So guys, but my point is, you have the best, and I don't think it will be wise for you not to take advantage of that because you're trying to save. You're trying to save a few thousands of naira. Okay, so let's quickly dive into the pitches. I will stop sharing my screen now so that we can start. And the first person on the list is Kola Wale Osino. Kola, are you ready for us?
Yes, I'm ready and I'm here. Just confirm.
Okay, so you can share your screen.
Okay.
Hi, you can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So yeah, Kola, please go ahead and share your screen.
Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, good evening everyone, good evening mentors. My name is Kola and I'm presenting to you in Zera.co. We're studying our pay later at zero interest platform. The problem we're trying to solve is a problem that a lot of young professionals face today. My younger sister is a lawyer by profession, one of the best students at the Nigerian Law School in Company Law. Unfortunately, or for the family, she's transiting into digital marketing. And after several years of practicing as a lawyer, But the challenge she's currently facing is that she doesn't know what area she's going to transition to when it comes to digital marketing. So I will see a lot of young professionals in this particular dilemma. What we want to do in terms of solving this problem of access to tools that will help them assess their career growth, also help them with funding when it comes to world-class postgraduate education and certifications. We also want to provide local support for students, for young professionals who are going through this particular challenge. The solution we've come up with is an AI-powered career assessment tool that will help you determine where you're currently at and how you can reskill, upskill yourself for a changing career. We also provide flexible payment options at zero interest while you're studying from these top institutions. Then we also provide local supports for learners through well-created career opportunities. So this is how it works. You go through an assessment, you get a recommendation, you see the curation of the courses that are available, you enroll. You don't worry about payment involved. We give you installment payment offer. Once you accept, you start learning, and we provide you support throughout your learning journey. Our go-to-market strategy is very simple. We're signing off exclusive partnerships, building our platform this year, and incorporating the company as well. By the end of 2022, we should be in Ghana, Kenya, and Zambia, and probably preparing for our Series A funding afterwards. In terms of traction, we're already engaging. We're starting with certifications, focusing on marketing and sales from providers in the UK and Singapore, who have also aggregated top courses from different Ivy League schools from around the world. We're also talking to a non-interest focused franchise bank to provide financial support. In terms of our future roadmap, we're starting in Q1 in Nigeria of 2021. We'll scale to Ghana, then we'll launch in Kenya by the end of Q4 2021. That's the plan. In terms of our target markets, we're looking to capture about 10% of Africa's workforce over the next 5 years. We're very specific in terms of the professionals we're targeting. From all industries, 5 years work experience, your salary band of $1,000. Okay. And this is our business model. I don't know if you have any questions at this point in time.
Thank you, Kola. Okay, so mentors, your feedback. I think we'll do ladies first. So, Perenami.
Okay. Hi, Kolawale. That was it was quite interesting, but it was a bit faint. So, but I have a question. I don't know if you addressed it, and maybe I didn't hear, or if others know about it. The question I have is that you say you are targeting courses for now.
Yes. Certifications, professional certifications, as well as postgraduate courses.
I'm sorry?
Professional certifications, that's where we're starting from. Then we'll move into postgraduate courses.
So these professional certifications, are they for like 2 weeks, or is it those ones that you're not sure which one?
No. They are over a couple of months. So some range between 3 months to 12 months.
Between 3 months to 12 months.
Yes.
Okay. So have you done any market survey as to how people within your salary band that you're asking for, how often they go for these courses, how often they need it, how often they apply? Do you have any of such? Do you have any data on that?
Yes, in our customer development survey and the research that we did with the target market. So, for example, marketing professionals, what they aspire for is to get the CIM certification, which takes between 1 or 2 years. For sales professionals, they're talking about the ISM certification, which also takes between 12 to 24 months to achieve. For example, I'm a certified strategic account manager. It took me 3 years, $20,000 to get to that stage. So, but I had to pay in bulk out of my own pocket just because I was able to see it. But it's not easy for everybody to do that. But they can pay on a monthly basis out of their salary.
Okay, so even they keep paying even after the program is over, even after they receive the certification. Do you give any moratorium from the beginning, or
No, no moratorium, because it's zero interest.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think it's a good idea because, I mean, personally, a lot of times there's so many courses you want to do where, you know, there's so many flying around. I like it. I think it's a good one.
Okay. Thank you, Perenami. So please rate him electronically, and then if you choose to, also announce what your rating is.
Oh, do I have to say what my rating will be here? Did you hear me? I was saying, do I have to say what my rating will be here, or do I just go and do it electronically?
Yeah, if you want to, you can.
I'm just going to do it electronically because I've said it's a good idea. I like it, but let me go on there and then decide, you know.
Okay. Tempo.
Yeah, sorry, if it's important, Perenami says what the rating is.
It's important that what? I'm sorry?
It's important you say the rating.
Oh, it's important I say the rating. Okay, so my rating will be a 4.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's
So, Tempo, can we have your feedback, please?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Tempo.
Yeah, hi, Kola. Yeah, I listened to your pitch. Yeah, I listened to your pitch. I think it's a very good idea. And what I would ask you is, have you started operations?
So we're starting before the end of the year. What we're currently doing is to build a platform. Once the platform is ready, because the assessment is key. We don't just want to be another platform where you just go and attend courses. We want the course to match your career aspiration, so that you can actually see the value for the money that you're paying. So it's a platform that we're just waiting for.
Okay. So you made mention of some exclusive partnerships that you want to go into. Well,
Yes.
Have you completed one?
That's where we're needing the legal support. So I'll be reaching out so that we don't fall into the trap of some of the startups that we see around today. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I would ask you, what are you bringing different from your competitors?
Okay, so if you look at my competitors, there's no clear competition today doing what we're trying to do today. It's either you have payday money loan companies like Rent Money, Carbon, or Credpal giving you loans, which you can use to pay for courses. We also have indirect competitors from banks. Maybe you go to your bank and you take a personal loan, but there's nobody trying to do all three things that we're trying to do today. You can go ahead and pay with school, go online, pay directly to the school, or pay for the certifications. But there's no clear-cut competition. But we're not losing sight of the indirect competitors as well. So.
Okay. All right, it's fun. I think it's very good. It's a viable idea. And then I would say my rating would be a 4.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, mentors. Thank you, Temple. Thank you, Perenami. Kolawole, thank you. Okay, so Toby Omotayo, are you ready?
Hello. Just a minute.
Fedi, I was actually gonna grade him. This is Nee. Can you hear me?
Say that again, please.
I said I was actually gonna grade him. I like the product. I just had a question for him. I know that we're running behind time, but I just wanted to ask just one question that.
Okay.
It's a very nice idea. It's a very nice idea. I just wanted to. It does seem as if he's going to continually need a lot of fundraising. So I'm just wondering, because again, I'm looking at who he says his competitors are. How does he intend to achieve that?
Okay, so thank you very much. If you look at our business model, is commission-based for the first couple of years, and I think Ifedi already gave me this feedback in my assignment in terms of how do we ensure that whatever profit that we're making, we're able to plow it back and utilize it in sustaining the business. So yes, in the first couple of years, we're going to be in the negative because we'll keep reinvesting whatever profit that we make from the commissions back into the business. But you're right, we'll need to kick off. We actually need some very good level of funding. That's why we're starting with the certification first, because they're not too expensive to pay for. Then we start moving into full-time degrees, the proper degree courses, the postgraduate, the MBAs, like that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just grade you. You already answered my question. I think
Thank you.
Okay, fine. So mentors, every one of you will have to rate the founders electronically. It's just because of our time that we are allowing only two to give feedback per founder. But of course, just like Adeniyi did, if you have any feedback for any founder, we'll sure take it. Otherwise, we'll just keep it at 2 per founder. But all of you will need to rate the founders electronically as they pitch. Okay, Oluwatobi, you ready for us?
Yes.
All right, great.
Okay, I'll just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay. We can see your screen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tobi Omatayo. I'm the founder of Qualwear. Qualwear is an inclusive fashion brand. Ready-to-wear clothing doesn't fit properly, and that's because the fashion industry uses standard sizes to produce clothes in mass production. And the alternative to that is tailor-made clothing, but Nigerian tailors deliver low-quality garments and delay on schedule. Shopping for clothes in Nigeria is stressful and time-consuming because about 80% of shopping for fashion products still happen in physical stores and markets. So meet Jessica Okoye. She's a 31-year-old mother of a 3-year-old kid. She's a customer service rep at a bank in Lagos. Her values are she's career-driven, she's time-conscious, she likes to spend time with her family and on career development. She wants to look chic in her outfits, and her favorite brands are Nike, ASOS, and Apple. Yeah, so the solution we are providing is a bespoke e-commerce fashion brand, which will allow somebody like Jessica to save time. She will not need to spend hours going to the market or physical stores and looking for what suits her. It's convenient. She can order for whatever she wants at the comfort of her home. And we offer fit guarantee. So everything the customers order for will be made specifically for their body sizes, taking their body nuances into consideration. And we offer free adjustments or replacement. So this is how the product looks like. So the customer comes and selects a style of their choice. They create a fit profile by answering few questions, things like their height, weight, their tummy curve, their shoulder slope, etc. And from there, they can check out and go on and make payments. Our business model is transactional, direct to consumer. So these allow us to control the end-to-end experience from when the customer orders and when we deliver to them. We have the profit margin between 15 to 30% to the total cost of production. The price of our garment ranges from 6,000 naira for our regular tops and to 40,000 for things like suits and complex styles. For our addressable markets, about 1.8 trillion naira was spent on clothing and footwear in Nigeria in 2019, according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. For our serviceable markets, because for the amount spent on clothing, about 23% of that was done through e-commerce. That's reported by Statista.com. For our main target markets, we are targeting men and women office workers between the ages of 25 and 55. For our competition, our main competitors are the existing ready-to-wear designer brands, physical clothing stores, and the local tailors. And this is how we measure based on the value proposition of personalization, convenience, and affordability. For our competitive advantage, we offer a robust fit type preference, free repairs and replacements, high quality garments. We use industrial machines for production and make sure that everything is made to customer satisfaction. And this is me. I have several years of experience using software to build great product for great experience for users online. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Oluwatobi. Thank you. So, Chika, please let's have your feedback.
Okay, hi. Well done, Toby. That was quite an interesting presentation. So a few questions. So aside the use of a tech platform,
yes.
Aside the use of a tech platform, what sets you apart from other clothing and ready-to-wear brands in your space?
Ready-to-wear brands don't offer personalization. So majority of when you buy a ready-to-wear clothes, for instance, a lot of people, based on research, a lot of people have fit problems with that. I myself, I have that as well. So sometimes I buy a shirt and the neck size might be very okay, but the sleeve length might be too short for me, and things like that. Sometimes it's the trousers too tight at the thigh. So we are offering personalization. We take into consideration individual body nuances of each customer.
Okay, so would you Nigerians like a lot of imported things. So would you consider other foreign competitors? For instance, Nigerians are very particular on importing wares from Turkey. So how would you survive in a situation like that?
Our major value proposition is personalization and convenience. And so even the ready-to-wear brands that are imported into the country, the wares are being sold in markets. And so people spend a lot of time trying to find what suits them. So especially for people in the city, they go to markets, go through traffic, you get to the market and still browsing through a lot of stores to get what suits them. But for an e-commerce platform that offers them convenience, they can just find exactly what they want, and when they order, it will be made for them. They only need to set up their fit profile once the first time that they are ordering.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Davidson, let's have your feedback, please. Thank you.
Hi, Toby. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. Well done. I just have a few questions for you. I didn't see anything in your pitch, or maybe I missed it, around your financial. So, what do you want from an investor? I'm not sure I saw that at the end of the day. Like, what are you seeking for an investor to give you money, and what do you intend to use the money for? I'm not sure I saw that in your pitch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, currently we are still at the stage of some kind of validation. So with some early customers and still trying to understand their behaviors around how they get clothing. And so,
so you don't need money?
Well, for now, trying to set up a fashion factory, just in one location that could actually fulfill these orders. So, but when it comes to scaling, then we will now need to raise money. So yeah, we could get seed funding for the initial operations, or maybe through other means of funding, loans and what have you.
Okay. But your pitch did not indicate that you needed money, so you don't need money at this point.
Every business needs money.
Oh. Okay, so I think that should reflect in your pitch, right? I also noticed that for your team, are you the only founder? Are you the only founder in your team, or is there anybody else?
I'm the only one for now, but I'm looking
you
for.
wrote Dream Team, but I only saw you.
Yeah.
And you don't have any background in fashion.
Yeah, so I started this this journey about 2 years ago, and I've been learning a lot about the fashion industry, production and design like that. But I'm also seeking for a co-founder who has a lot of experience in fashion production as well.
Okay, well, I mean, I saw those as being essential for reflecting in your pitch. Now, in terms of timeline for delivery, how long does that take? Because your typical person that wants to go for an Owambe party may probably need his clothes maybe like 5 days time, which the local tailor can quickly knock out. How long does it take to have this bespoke?
Yeah, we can deliver between 5 to 10 days time.
Okay. Well, thank you for your presentation. I think I probably have about 2 more questions, but because of time, I will leave it at that and just grade you based on what I saw. But well done, good idea.
Thank you.
I just have one question. I don't know if I'll be allowed. Let's ask a question quickly, please.
Sorry? Okay.
Okay, so hi, Toby. I listened to your pitch, but I noticed that your competitors are ASOS and I don't know, did you say Zara? But I also wanted to ask, because I mean, I'm a woman and I know, and I mean, when it comes to workwear, I do a lot of workwear shopping in Nigeria because of exchange rates. I mean, have you considered the unstable exchange rates, how people might not be able to afford all those Zara and Co. I mean, for the past 2 years, I mean, you can do your research, but I think that you might have a lot of competitors, even here in Nigeria, that you're overlooking. If you go on Instagram, for instance, many vendors are doing this sort of business, doing ready-to-wear workwear, you know, where even with your measurements and with your dimensions. So if you say that that's your competition, I think you need to look at it again.
There are 3 categories of my competitors.
Sorry, Toby. So you may not be able to respond to this feedback because you had just 2 mentors, but you just need to take that feedback and you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Adeniyi, please go ahead. Hi, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, sure, please.
Okay, can you hear me? I said the industry, that industry is actually
seconds, please.
Very difficult industry, very good presentation, but I think that like the last speaker said, your competitor is not the Zaras of this world. It's the clothes that they import from Turkey and China and everywhere else. I'm going to be very honest with you. Your timeline for 2 weeks to finish clothing, I don't think that you're going to sell very well on that, because people want things that can be ready in 3 days or lesser. So I think you might need to work on that. That's just my own feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nee. So mentors, please remember to rate each founder electronically and then announce your ratings, especially for those who are, you know, giving them feedback. Okay, thank you, Toby. You might now stop sharing your screen. Obuakwe, are you ready? Your mic is mute. You need to unmute your mic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Uju Obuakwe, and I'm the founder of Smarter Work. At Smarter Work, we're connecting African talent with worldwide opportunities. Our vision at Smarter Work is to reduce unemployment in Africa, one job at a time. The problem is that we have over 21 million graduates who are unemployed. And every year, another 400,000 youth corpers join the labor market. If you've been trying to find a job in Nigeria, you'll know that it's very, very time consuming and inefficient. Another problem that we have are the small businesses. They have no easy and effective way to hire freelance professionals. And the traditional methods are also expensive and time consuming. So what's the opportunity? With COVID now and unemployment and working from home, we've reached a tipping point. We need innovative, simple, easy strategies to tackle the crisis of unemployment. Now in Nigeria, 71% of those unemployed are below the age of 34. And now that majority of the world workforce is going remote, our solution is a platform that will seamlessly connect small businesses to vetted freelance professionals, providing transparency, ease, and cost savings. It's going to be a cloud-based online talent solutions platform that will be fast, easy, and secure. You can quickly describe your job, freelancers get a notification, and payment is securely held in an escrow account until the job is finished. We'll have a commission-based model. We'll earn 5% of every job completed on the platform. And we're the only ones among our competition that's going to create a community of freelancers with secure payments, skills of training with a partner, and it's going to be cloud-based, sorry. Our market size worldwide is $1 trillion. We're just targeting 1% of the local market that we have looked at as $370 million. Traction from our MVP to sign up, we're looking at 180 days, 6 months. And our target is to go to wholesale like NYSC and get a pipeline of freelancers that have already been trained by people like MasterCard, LSETF, and then we'll pitch SMEs through business associations. The team is going to be myself. I have over 20 years experience in communications and finance and marketing communications. And Yetunde Orobobo, who is a HR consultant. Our ask is $75,000. We'll use that for our sales team, our engineering team, and to implement our cloud-based technology infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you, Uju. Eteobong, your feedback, please.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, Uju. While you were giving your pitch, you made mention of one thing that would distinguish you from your competitors would be having a community of freelancers, right?
Yes.
So from your research, you're very sure that we don't have such community in Nigeria or anywhere else in the world, because I assume you're looking at a global market.
Yes, so we're the only ones who's going to have, we're looking at third-party services, micro pensions. Most freelancers are just on their own. Most of the communities just treat them as work. But we're looking at a community where we're going to offer things like micro pensions, NHIS, and insurance.
Okay, okay, so, okay, thank you very much. So that's to say there's a community, but there are other things which you would bring that different. So there will be value addition in your own, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then you made mention of payment of commission. Who pays commission to you? Is it the employer or the employee? And is there any way you can guarantee that this commission will be paid? How do you guarantee payment of this commission?
So we're going to deduct at source. When you order through the platform, if you pay 50,000 naira, we'll deduct our 5% commission before the freelancer gets their money. Another value add that we're doing is we're working with one of the founders from FI, reward people who have used our platform. So we're going to introduce an incentive. So every time you order through it, eventually you'll be getting points that will enable you to get work for free.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. That's all from my end.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eteobong. So please, what's your rating for her?
My rating for her first is a very good idea, and I love her presentation skill. She took to time. Then the thoroughness of research was also there, so I'll rate her 4.
Oh, a 4. Okay, thank you. Please remember electronically. All the mentors, please don't forget. Adeniyi, please, let's have your feedback. Thank you.
Okay, I like the idea. I think it's a viable business. I think that there might just be one or two things that you may need to tweak. One of those things may be that in terms of your subscription, I understand. I mean, okay, so let me even ask a question first. Do you have any competitor in Nigeria doing this right now?
Most of the people who are doing similar stuff, like Proville, some of them have closed shop. They receive funding sometimes, and then they close shop.
So why do you think what have you learned from why they failed?
Luckily, one of the founders of Proville, I spoke to him, and he said that first of all, they couldn't get their technology right; it wasn't user friendly. But they had a lot of people who were coming from abroad looking for the services because it was cheaper. So they had clients, but their technology platform wasn't well developed. And when they got funding, they kind of didn't use the money for what it was meant for.
So the funding that you're looking for, the 75K, it's only for to set up the cloud-based services. Nothing in terms of engaging people to work with you or anything. You're not going to need any staff.
No, I put a sales team, an engineering team, and the cloud-based technology.
And 75,000 will cover that?
Well, we're going to start small and then, scale. So we wanted our ask to be something that we could, start small with. Most of the people working with us will also be freelancers or remote staff to start with.
Good idea. It's a good idea.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Adeniyi, your rating, please.
For the viability of the idea, I'll score high 4. Presentation, I also score a 4. Also the risk.
Okay, that's okay. So it's just so you consider it's a weighted average for you. So you just consider all the factors and then give a. So if it's a rating of 4, then it's 4. Across all the.
It's 4 across.
Okay, thank you. Please remember to rate electronically.
Thank you.
Tunde. Tunde, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Would you please stop sharing your screen?
I have.
Okay. Just a second, please. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Okay. My company is called MedHelp 247. According to NOI polls, 88% of doctors that they surveyed are currently considering work opportunities abroad. And several countries are actively recruiting Nigerian medical talent at all levels, countries like Saudi Arabia. And then according to the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, over 50% of doctors registered with them practice outside the country. So clearly Nigeria is fighting a losing battle for healthcare talent. And trends indicate that things are likely going to get worse going forward because of socioeconomic trends in the developed world, mean that there's going to be continued demand for Nigerian talent, in addition to Nigeria's birth rates, which doesn't seem to look like it's going down anytime soon. And the fiscal and infrastructural constraints in Nigeria mean that we don't have the money to spend ourselves out of this situation. So clearly we have to innovate to address the issue. So MedHelp 247 is an automated medical diagnostic platform, which is going to leverage AI. PwC conducted a poll a survey of 12 countries a couple of years ago. I believe this was in 2016. And Nigerians ranked the highest in terms of countries that are willing to adopt AI in their healthcare. So this is beyond just medical diagnostics, but actually the delivery of healthcare to them. So how is the platform going to work? Patients are going to be able to present their symptoms using either a mobile app or verbally via a phone in English, broken English, Hausa, Igbo, or Yoruba. So the platform is going to assess the symptoms that have been presented. If need be, the patient is going to be referred to a diagnostic center to carry out medical tests. The platform will receive the medical tests, and based on that, it will carry out an analysis and then prescribe medications. However, we know that there'll be several situations in which the platform cannot successfully diagnose the patient's condition up to a satisfactory level of, up to a satisfactory threshold. And in those situations, the patient is going to be referred to a hospital for further assessment. Our addressable market is made up of 57 million Nigerians, and the total healthcare spend of that category for outpatient care is $30 million. And this is based on several considerations, including the age. We're targeting the age group of 20 to 55. We're looking at teledensity, where that's the patient's access to a mobile phone. We're looking at employment. We're targeting people who have jobs and are under time pressures. And as I said earlier on, this is mainly focused on outpatient care. So the service is going to be priced using a hybrid model of subscription and one-off consultation. The subscription is going to be priced at 2,000 Naira and 3,000 Naira per annum. And that will entitle you to 24 consultations and 36 consultations per annum. And the one-off consultation will be priced at 1,000 Naira and 2,000 Naira. So within 18 months, we expect to have reached up to over 125,000 subscribers and to have conducted over 130,000 one-off consultations. And we expect this is going to generate revenue in excess of $1 million. And this will cost us about 200,000 to put in place.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Tunde. Davidson, let's have your feedback, please.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Tunde. I see that time did not allow you to finish what you wanted to say, but I think we're probably getting to the interesting part around your competitors, right?
Yeah.
So within the market, have you looked sufficiently at what your considered competitors are presently doing and how your own product will stand out from all of them?
So for the major competitors in this regard are the platforms that are providing mainly automated symptom checking services. So those platforms are the best that they provide is mainly the symptom checking and periodic healthcare advisory services, right? But then our services are going to cut across symptom checking, referrals for testing, giving a definitive diagnosis, prescriptions, referral for further care, and then also the advisory services. So we provide a broad spectrum of services.
Yeah, that's a lot that you guys are doing within that space. What's your background in, and what are the other founders involved in?
My background is computer. I studied computer engineering. I spent 20 years of my career in consulting, and primarily in PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I led the healthcare sector. They're delivering services, delivering projects for clients across various industries, including healthcare. Other founders, we are going to right now, the only other founder is our lead architect, but then we're going to onboard quite a lot of medical doctors, and we already have a doctor on our advisory board. He's a very experienced doctor with over 20 years of practice, both in Nigeria and in the UK.
Okay, so how soon would you see your business being able to scale in the Nigerian market as it presently is now, and the challenges that it's facing?
In the Nigerian market, I do not see any Well, our go-to-markets, I guess the main issue that will affect our scale is in terms of our go-to-market strategy, and in terms of marketing, we intend to engage the use of social media influencers and also market on social media platforms. Now, our target audience for looking at the numbers that we're looking at is about 125,000 subscribers, which I believe is very moderate, given that a lot of social media influencers, you're talking about their followership in the millions. So this number is actually quite conservative, and also given our price points, we're talking about 2,000 naira per annum for a standard tier. Now that is that's a very, very low. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you do know that the fact that somebody is a supposed influencer on social media doesn't mean that people would exactly do what they say, right? Or else all the influencers would have billions. They would be able to rake billions every single time for any product, regardless of whether it's sellable or not.
I understand that, but again, that's why I said that we don't necessarily
I don't know whether
have to be
basing your
restricted to.
marketing on that strategy is the best.
No, that's why it's not the only one. We're also going to advertise. We're also going to do our own direct advertisements as well. So, and that's why I'm saying that it's, so if somebody has, if we advertise on a regular basis on social media platforms, and then we also have influencers, I think 125,000 subscribers is relatively, fairly conservative, also considering our price points. Just for context, so the only alternative that's out there right now delivering anything close to this is telemedicine. And telemedicine is priced, you have some platforms that price at about 40,000 naira for an annual subscription, and others are priced at about 5,000 for a single consultation. Just for context.
Okay, thank you, Davidson. So your rating for him, please.
Well, I'll give him a 4. I mean, time is not there, but I wanted to inquire on some of his numbers, but I'll give him a 4.
Yes, I'm sure that after this session, you know, they will start reaching out to you. So that opportunity will be there to do a deep dive into his business. Chika, please, your feedback.
Sanjay, I just have one major question for me. I'd like to know more your expansion strategy and what key additions do you think your team needs in the short term?
The key additions that we'll need in the immediate is the medical personnel to actually, you know, validate the medical pathways for the diagnosis. So that's the primary addition, and then also we'll need somebody to head up our marketing efforts. So those are the 2 areas of addition that will require in the immediate.
Right. So in terms of expansion as well, how do you hope to go about that?
Expansion, are you talking locally within Nigeria or beyond Nigeria?
No. So in terms of expanding your team within Nigeria.
Expanding our team, we would have to work with would have to work with an HR consultant to support our recruitment initiatives. Yeah, that's about it. Except if there's if I don't fully understand the question.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chika. Your rating for him, please.
I'll give him a 4. I'll give him a 4. I think it's quite an interesting pitch. I'll give him a 4.
Okay, so Tunde, let me also add, you know, riding on what Davidson said, I would think that instead of considering social media influencers who really cannot do much for you because what you're selling is health and it's a very sensitive product or service. How about you consider most Nigerian patients will take anything their doctor says. So how about you consider partnerships with an organization like, say, NMA or CMDA? Now, the idea is they can endorse you. You can do, I don't know, whatever the deal is with them, but these are organizations that can help you onboard a lot of users in very record time, as opposed to going to look for celebrity influencers on social media who can't speak authoritatively to health. Because people need to know that what you're offering works.
I totally understand, and it should make it sounds good. However, a lot of these guys will see me as their competition, even though I am not. Even though I am not, these are a lot the people that would be going to. I am not, but a lot of them will end up seeing you as competition, and that should not be somewhere that you're going to start from.
Okay, so fine. Well, yeah, so the thing is, since you know you are not their competition, whenever it is, but it's something that you need to find a way to crack, because that's part of, you know, being an entrepreneur, being able to win people over to your side. Because if you can crack that, then user acquisition will be quite very easy for you. So maybe that's something you need to consider.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Point taken.
Yeah. Okay. So we move on to Temita. Mentors, please. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? It's a good thing the lawyers are in the house. So I wanted to ask, this model now, right? What issues will he have with the Nigerian Medical Association? Because if he's going to be prescribing drugs and AI is not actually registered to the NMA, will he not be crossing any legal line? So that's just what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so we're looking at models to get around any possible restrictions in that regard. So some of the options that we are possibly looking at is maybe creating a hospital on which this platform can sit, because another possible use case that we're looking at is this can be used as a means of triage for a hospital. So for example, if you walk into a hospital, you can just be handed a tablet with this with the platform installed on it, and then you can enter your symptoms and things like that, and then it can determine where you should go to. So that's a possible use case. So one option that we are considering is maybe having this registering a hospital, you know, on which this platform would sit as a means of, you know, providing these services. So that is something that we're still considering.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Tunde, and the mentors. Please remember to raise electronically. So we move on to the next founder, Temitayo.
Mic check.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to share my screen now.
Okay.
And my video as well. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Temitayo Fadojutimi. I'm the CEO of Literature. So our vision at Literature is to connect people to African content. So there's been a misrepresentation about Africa that African people don't read, and but this can actually be because there is a low literacy level and there's no access to quality books by Africans. So these are some of the problems we've identified. And also there's also high shipping fees to get a book from an international major store to Africa. Oh, sorry, okay. So our solution is an online platform that helps authors to publish and distribute their books across Africa, and also an easy to use online reading platform. And so this platform would also come with multi-currency support, so people can buy book in 18 African currencies, including USD, Euro, and Pound Sterling. And they can also sell ebook and print book, low shipping fees, high royalty payment as well. So in terms of products, currently we've launched the ebook and print book distribution platform. And so in 2021, we're looking to launch the audiobook and the book sales tracking system. So for the market, the global book market is valued at $143 billion, and less than 1% of that was from Africa. So our initial target is about $5 million of that market. So the business model is to charge 15% commission on each ebook and print book sales, and 10 to 30% commission on service charge. So Traction, we launched September 2019, pre-launch, and over time we've had over 800 registered users. We've generated over $600 in revenue, and these are also some of the things we've done. So for competitors, in terms of high royalty payment, global print book and ebook distribution, sign-up fee, low shipping fees, that's our major strengths there. Although our Okada book is being projected as an African publishing platform, but how they define ebook distribution is quite different from how we define it as well. So these are go-to-market strategy. We'll be using influencers, affiliate marketing, strategic partnerships with publishing houses, relevant government agencies, etc. So this is the team. I'm an ex-Sunderland and a senior software engineer, and I'm also a serial entrepreneur. So we have remote sales rep and social media manager in the team as well. So we are seeking $500,000 to help us generate 2.5 million in revenue and over 1 million published books in 12 months. So we currently have $21,000 in grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Temitayo, for your presentation. Perenami, do you have feedback for him?
Yes. I love reading. So, I mean, you're sort of preaching to the Pope or preaching to the converted. But I just have a question for you. What's your 5-year plan? Or maybe that's like a midterm plan, but what's your long-term plan? And I know where I'm going with this question, but I'd just like to know, where do you see yourself in 5 years or in 10 years?
Okay, so our long-term plan is basically to dominate the African market. So although we are currently in 18 African countries, and that is in terms of payment. So we also, intend to have like presence in those countries. For example, in Ghana, we are working with someone in Ghana, to set up a presence there. And we are also looking at, having other products as well, like audiobooks. I made mention of book sales tracking system, and this is one thing that we don't have in Africa, actually, not just Nigeria. So, for example, there is no way to know which book is best-selling, in what category, in what genre, etc. So this is one thing we're also looking at doing. I attended a book fair event, and it was also mentioned, by some of the top publishing guys in the industry as well. So these are some of the things we intend to do as well. Yeah, I don't know, was I able to answer your question?
No, that's okay. That's okay. So I just have 2 more questions. So the first is, obviously you're an African platform, so you have no plans to move outside of Africa, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the fact that we are African platform does not mean that someone in the US cannot buy our book or cannot buy books on the platform or publish on the platform as well.
Yeah, understood. I mean, I got that from the beginning. What was the other question I was going to ask you? I kind of lost my train of thoughts there for a minute. So there it is. So how do you because I belong to a couple of this sort of online book, reading platform. So I wanted to ask, and what I realized with them is that sometimes, you read like all the books and there's nothing else to read again, or they, so how do you then market yourself to the authors? What's your selling point to the authors? Because to the readers, I mean, I think it's easy to get the readers. If your fees are low, and people that love to read, they will read. But if there are no content on your platform, so how do you market yourself to the authors?
Okay, so thank you very much for that question. I mean, the number one catch is the fact that they earn more I mean, authors spend a lot of time writing their book, even marketing it, right, and trying to sell. So the number one catch that we have, which is our major strength, is the fact that they can earn 85%
85.
royalty. Yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's no withdrawal limit. I mean, one of our competitor, you have to earn up to 10,000 naira before you can withdraw. We've seen someone who earned 200 naira on our platform, and we pay them, right? So that is actually what has been our strength. And also because they know that, oh, if I publish on this platform, someone in Kenya, and yes, we've had sales in Ghana, Uganda, and as well. So yeah, so we've also had sales. So the fact that they know if I publish on this platform, people from outside Nigeria can also buy it. And another thing is that in terms of low shipping fee, we actually partnered with one of the world's best shipping company. And for example, shipping within Lagos is less than 400 naira. Shipping to Ghana is less than 5,500 naira. So these are actually, so because they know, people will be able to easily access my book. And in terms of solution, we actually summarize our solution under what I call 3 A's. That is accessibility, affordability, and availability. So this has also helped us, you know, in marketing to authors and publishers. We also have some high-profile publishers on our platform. I have one from the US. We have one publishing company from the US, and they're also, you know, working on publishing more than 1,000 books from their authors as well. We also have another publisher in Nigeria, and we are also about to sign a deal with a print-on-demand company in Nigeria. So what that means is that authors, I mean, you don't have to keep inventory. You don't have to keep a lot of inventory for your print book, right? So you can print even 10 copies of your book, 20 copies of your book at a very, very affordable rate. So we're about to close that deal as well. You know, we just need to flesh out some legal nuances as well. So yeah, was I able to answer your question?
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. I mean, we can talk later, but for now, you were. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I have a question. It's a nice presentation.
Thank you.
But one of the first things I need to ask you, have you raised any money so far? Have you been bootstrapping? What exactly have you been doing in terms of since you started? And when did you start?
Okay, so we launched the MVP, or let me say the first MVP in September 2019. And from September through December 2019, it was actually all bootstrapping, you know, using my money and all that. But in January 2020, we got grant up to $21,000 from AWS, Heroku, and Flutterwave. So that helps us to cover our infrastructure cost. So in terms of infrastructure, I'm not spending any money on that. But, you know, in terms of, say, marketing, maybe we need to, we have a new product, for example, and we need to tell people. So, yeah, I use that for.
No, but I hear you and everything, but I'm just wondering, based on what you're saying, do you have employees? Because I'm just wondering, if you have employees, how are you burning money? So I'm just a bit curious about that.
Okay, so the social media manager is an intern. Sorry?
So I'm just wondering, are they on commission? Are they full-time? How is it working? Because, you know, just curious about that. And when whatever monies that you have, when do you think it will finish if you're not able to raise money very quickly?
I mean, we really don't have any cash in the bank. The money we have, they are basically revenue from book sales. So some authors who haven't withdrawn their money. So that's the money we have currently in the bank. Then for the team members that we have, so they are basically interns, so no payment, right? But once in a while, I do cover for internet cost as well. So basically, everyone is lean. Myself, I'm not paying myself, and the other two team members as well. They are not getting any payment at the moment. So basically, let me just say that we are cash red, or yeah, we are cash red. Basically, we really don't have any money in the bank, and it has all been bootstrapping. Everything that I've been doing is all bootstrapping. And the $21,000 in grant is basically credit, so it's not cash. You know, they are just AWS credits, so we don't need to pay for infrastructure. It's being covered. And also, I recently had a call with someone from AWS as well, and they're also looking at increasing it for us. So, I mean, in terms of infrastructure, we have that sorted out. But in terms of, say, the team, you know, marketing, and that's been our big challenge. Marketing has been our big, is one of our biggest challenge, you know, because we need to put the word out there. We need to let people know what we are doing. We have quite a lot of features that people don't even know about, you know, that you can't even find on any other platform. So, yeah.
So, anyway, I was going to say, but I think we're run out of time. I was going to advise you on something in terms of the grants. I think that in terms of the grants, it's not a bad way to raise money. It can help you in terms of moving the company, taking the company forward whilst you're waiting to get pre-seed money. Education is a good way to basically get a lot of grants. I mean, there are a lot of DFIs and agencies that can give you money based on what you're doing. So I think that it's good to look towards how you can plug into that. I mean, after this, I mean, at some point, if you can reach out to me, I probably will give you 1 or 2 suggestions. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And
I
sorry,
just want
please,
to
can I just ask one question?
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can I just, okay, from what you've said, I understand that you guys have already started operations. So I would love to know, do you guys have an IP strategy in place in order to protect your company? Is there an IP strategy in place? Because a lot of copyright activities will be going on that platform. So do you have that?
Okay, so I mean, our terms and condition is very basic. We did mention that you know, books that are published on our platform, we expect that whoever publishes it has the right to publish those content, actually. And we've also kind of indemnify ourselves from any should I say costs that will arise from there. Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay,
we also do ensure
that,
okay, thank you. And I also want to mention that we are also, we are actively seeking to raise funds so that we can grow. We have quite a number of plans, you know, that we've not been able to execute, for example. So, in terms of the technical aspect, I'm the one handling that, the CEO, everything, I'm the one handling that. And I also need to break down, you know, those tasks as well so that we can grow fast. So if anyone is willing to commit something out of the $500,000 pre-seed that we are seeking to raise, that would help us, you know, go a long way. I'm also actively talking to investors as well. And, you know, if anybody commits something, to also, you know, help us, you know, raise the money on time.
All right, Timmy, just one brief question, please.
Okay.
Yeah. So Timmy, you made mention of $21K that you got from that you said it was a grant. So was there any consideration for that?
Yes.
What was the consideration? Was it just a gift?
Yeah, it's a gift. So we are not paying back anything, no equity, nothing. So for example, yes. For example, Flutterwave gave us as part of their COVID-19 relief. AWS gave us as part of our membership in Startup School. So we also attended Startup School in January as well. So those were the avenue, you know, we got the grant. So it's free, no strings attached.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, mentors. Remember to rate him electronically. Tell me, Tayo, let me just ask you, just because I heard you mention that. So who drafted the terms of use and privacy policy for your platform? Do you have that in place? And after that, you didn't copy and paste, right?
So what we currently have is copy and paste. I'm not going to lie, but I did make sure I read through it. I mean, I have a lot of lawyers around me, and we also have, someone who, or let me just say, I have a lawyer colleague as well. So I did run that through them. But now we are currently working on a new terms and condition. And that terms of use covers everything that we currently do. So initially when we started, we only did ebook publishing. But now we do print book, we do shipping. So we need to have a return policy. We need to have a lot of things as well. So we are working on that. It's, let me just say it's about 70% complete, because we're trying to, I'm currently reviewing actually. I think, yeah, so that's the stage where I'm currently reviewing that. But the one we currently have on the platform is copy and paste. And I won't lie. And I copied it from one of our competitors.
All right. So I think this is a good place to also mention to everyone, guys. So I'll be looking at your company building work for legal and some of the legal that spilled into mental idea review. So one of the things that's happening is that who is knocking who out? Sorry, please. I moved your mic. We are listening to that conversation. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm going to look through everybody's assignment, and we want to have details. Of course, that's part of what you're going to do, of the law firm that you're working with, and we will look, we will investigate those firms to be sure that you're working with a firm that can give you the right kind of legal advisory and representation that you need. And if that is not happening, then we're going to flag that. Well, we're not going to compel you to use our partners, any of our partners, but we will compel you to use the right kind of law firm, because you have to succeed. And remember that everybody in this community is vested. Your success it directly affects every other person. That's the idea behind the equity collective. So I just need to let everybody know that it's not enough to just tell us that you have a lawyer. We will need their details, and we will be looking through their pedigree. We give you a lot of questions. That those questions are not a formality. Every lawyer, even our own partners, they have to answer those questions, and it has to be satisfactory. If it is not, then we most likely are going to flag that. Because again, this is one of the reasons why people either don't get investment, or they sign the wrong deals, and then they get into trouble. So yeah, thank you very much, Temitayo. Mentors, please remember to rate him electronically. Samuel, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Let me just share my screen.
Great.
Oh, sorry. Just give me a second. All right. Are we ready? Can you hear me?
Go ahead. I can hear you.
All right. I'll go. So, hi, my name is Samuel Tebandeke. I'm co-founder and CEO of Kiasi TV. And basically what we're dealing with is my sister Maria is a mother of two. She lives in the UK, and she's Ugandan. And she's always looking on the internet for content for her boys and for herself. But the challenge she has is that the platforms that exist don't have a lot of content aggregated in one place. So she has to look for children's stuff on YouTube. She has to look at films from other platforms. But also you know, for her, it's a lot of time, and sometimes she has to subscribe to them. On the other hand, you have Mugambi, who's a filmmaker, 20-year-old. He's been creating content for the last few years, and he's trying to reach out to people like Maria to show his content. So the problem he has is that there are very few platforms that take short form content from the African continent. And so he's stuck. So he has to always go with YouTube, which is not very great for discoverability. We also don't have engagement between the creator and the audience to get that feedback, you know, for the creator to get a sense of what is it that I'm putting out there and is the audience really enjoying it. So what we have is, what we want to create is a multi-format streaming platform that allows the best available short-form Afrocentric video and audio content to be showcased to the world, and for people like Maria to watch this content. We also want to have a user-generated content side of things, similar to TikTok, where people can express themselves and upload videos about themselves, positive work about, or a more diverse aspect of Africa, and also have an aspect of real-time social interaction. That's the product. Our market is basically people in the African diaspora and also people on the continent. And we have these online video platforms that are our competitors: Netflix, Iroko, Demand Africa, Afroland, but also the indirect competitors are platforms like TikTok and the social media platforms. We are basically showing innovative content at a low price, and our audience focus is people of African descent, both on the continent and in Africa, and the diaspora. But also our content platform is a blend between YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, and Netflix. Our go-to-market strategy is basically strategic partnerships, marketing campaigns, and promotional campaigns. And our business model is simple: $4 a month, which Maria will pay for, and also a free ad-supported platform that has ads where we earn revenue. And we're seeking $350,000 in funding for product development, content acquisition, marketing and sales, and building an internal team to be able to achieve $1 million in revenue in the next 18 months. Our team is currently 3, and we have over 20 years experience in content development and production, and also our head of strategy has over 9 years in business development and management. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. Temple, your feedback, please. Hello, Temple, are you there? Okay, Eteobong, can we have your feedback, please? Are you available?
Okay. Yeah, I'm available. Samuel, thank you very much. It's actually a fantastic idea in the sense that it's bespoke, it's not generic as other of your platform, other things your competitors are offering. But again, I would want to ask, since you're already, I want to assume, have you started operations already?
We started in April with the basic
Hello,
website.
Samuel.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so sorry, there's a bit of a delay, so yes. So we started with a run-of-the-mill website, and if you go to that link, you'll be able to see what we have. It's basically Netflix or Showmax, but that was in April. And we decided that to differentiate ourselves from the market, we needed to create something more bespoke, like you mentioned. And we realized that a lot of what was missing was that short form content is not available for audiences on a massive scale. And you have to go through, when you go to YouTube and you search Africa, you watch a couple of videos, and then after some time, they'll start showing you videos from other countries, and then suddenly you're no longer there. So
okay, thank you. I was just asking if you started operation, and thank you very much. So from what you said now, you started operations, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to ask again, because from what you're doing, there will be a lot of IP assets will be generated. So I would also want to ask, have a comprehensive IP strategy in place? Currently, do you have such?
Not yet. And one of the things, so currently we have an agreement with all the content creators on our platform. So what we want to do, of course, when we onboard a firm, is moving forward, when we create the new platform, we will be requesting for chain of title. So we will need releases from the filmmakers, releases for the music, releases for the cast and crew, but also any territories that have been taken by the film. We need to know what's available. So all that documentation needs to be available for us so that we're not in danger. Even music rights is a thing in film. So, and even generally, any content.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so from what you just said, you don't have a comprehensive IP strategy, right?
No.
All right, so that's very valuable feedback, and you need to quickly do something about it, Samuel. Any feedback for him?
And I think that a lot of what you need to do, because you need to seek awareness, you're going to a lot of marketing.
Hello, I'm not sure we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now, Ifedi?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what I said was that based on what he's doing, it does appear that a lot of money in the short term will be spent on marketing based on the already established players that are in the market. So his route to market has to be very different. And in being different, it means that he has to spend a lot more money on marketing. So I see that most of the money that he might raise initially will have to be on marketing. So the challenge you now have is that how much money will you now have in relation to getting content? So, I mean, I think that he has to watch that and see how he can align both of them together. That's my own view.
Okay, thank you, Nii. Perenami, you have any feedback for him?
Yes, it was just as Nii was saying, those were my exact thoughts. I wanted to ask, for instance, how, first of all, would you break into the market? So, of course, marketing, how do you want to break in? You know, you're offering me services that, for instance, you're offering me, did you say short content, Afrocentric content, short content, and you're offering me what I can also get on TikTok, but you're asking me to pay $4 for it. Now, for the short content, I can get on YouTube. For the TikTok and all the social media services, I can get on TikTok, really. I'm not sure that I want, for me personally, you know, I don't know why I would pay $4 to have both. So your marketing, you need to be really direct with your marketing. How do you want to target it? How do you want to pull in people into your platform? That's very important. Then also about content creation. Of course, is the content that is ultimately going to drive people there. I think, I'm not sure, maybe I missed it. I don't know how much you say that you need, but I see a lot of money going in here just to create content and just to market. So those are my thoughts. I think it's brilliant. I like it, but I'm just worried about the amount of money that will be required to break into the markets with your business. So that's my feedback.
Okay, I can respond to that.
Thank you so much, Perenami. Do you have a response, Samuel?
Yes, I do. So first of all,
please, very briefly.
In the beginning, we're not going to commission any content. We're just going to get what's already available and pay like a small minimum guarantee, and then have a revenue share of 50-50, whether it's the ad revenue or the subscription. Secondly, we are looking at original equipment manufacturers like Tecno, Huawei, Xiaomi to break into the market, influencers and brand ambassadors, but also start to do like promotions, competitions, like challenges that we award prizes for. That will drive traffic there. The other thing that may not have been clear is that we have video and audio content, which is basically films, series, documentaries, and audiobooks, podcasts, audio series, and audio films. but also all these things with like the TikTok user-generated content and the what we'd call the premium content are all happening on one platform. So you don't have to skip across to other platforms to look, which means you save time, you save money.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. Thank you, mentors. Please remember to rate each founder electronically. Okay, we move on to the next founder, Eteobong Gam Ikom. Are you ready? Eteobong, are you ready?
Yes, I am. I am. Good evening, everyone.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me share my slides.
Share your screen and go. Yeah.
Can you see my slides, my screen?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen, please?
Not yet.
Okay, I've shared it too. It's been shared. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eteobong Gam Ikom, and I am the co-founder and CEO of LearnPower. Basically, what is LearnPower all about? The platform looks to reward everyone in the education value chain. What is the challenge we are trying to confront or resolve? The issue of mathematics and English. Our niche is strictly focused on maths and English. Looking at the feedback from WAEC and even NECO, in just as recent as last year, 52% failure in English and mathematics, as well as WAEC, 65% failure. So our platform seeks to reinforce learning, rigorous practice, and formative assessment. How are we going to do that? By providing first-class content and intrinsic reward, motivation for users of the platform. We've started operation already and have been able to earn some revenue from attraction. We started in 2017 and have assessed students in maths and English from the numbers we have there. We've been able to assess in 2017 675 students and earned $258,000, as well as in 2018 and recently in 2019 as well. So our business model, we look at 4 models of generating revenue. We have a freemium content where users get to use a platform on a daily or weekly basis with as little as 261 cents, or let's call it as little as 100 Naira. Subscription-based content is where they pay $8.4, that's 3,200 Naira, to be on the platform for a year. School intervention, from my experience of working with schools call us in to intervene, to say, okay, these are my challenges. We've worked with your platform, what has been happening? So they tell us to run them through and reassess. We equally look at corporate sponsorship, talking to corporate organizations to earn some sponsorship and support. For our market size, we know that from our findings from the Federal Ministry of Education, about 35.6 million students are in primary and secondary schools, and each market gives us about 25 million students to address. That is the secondary schools for a start. Our competition, we have IXL Learning in the UK, we have Khan Academy, Prodigy Games. For Nigeria, we have Pass Now, Class Hall, Nigeria Kids, ULesson, and Rudicate. Our go-to-market strategy, we intend to use various social media interaction, SEOs, individual outreach, social media advertising to go back to our existing clients. We have over 40 schools we've worked with. So they are waiting for us and we want to go back to them. Our team, I am the team member working with Andy Ahigbe. We both worked in the bank together. We're ex-bankers, and for IT, we have Shion handling the technology side. What are we asking? We're asking for $210,000 to enable us access about 30,000 students. With the injection of this amount, we can conservatively give an ROI of $381,000 in 18 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Eteobong. I'm already calling you your co-founder. Okay, Chika, your feedback for him, please.
Hello.
Hi, Chika. Are you here? Okay, Temple, your feedback, please.
Yeah, hello. Hi, Eteobong.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so basically, from what you just did in this pitch deck, I don't think I particularly got how how you would get money from this. How is the income based? How do you intend to get money from this?
Okay, so the platform is a learning platform as well as engagement platform. When you come into the platform, you get to learn and you get to practice as well as get rewarded. So to learn on the platform, we have the freemium where you don't necessarily need to pay, but once you want to scale up, you need to pay something. Then we have our subscription-based assessment where we charge 3,000 to students that are users of the platform annually. That's our annual charge. Take part in our assessment, which is held once a year or can be held periodically. That way we earn our revenue because they pay 3,000 to, which is an annual subscription. So the platform provides them content in mathematics and English. So that way they are able to practice and learn.
Okay, so from the competitors, are there any one of the competitors offering lower amounts of money for these services?
From what we have done, there is none. There is none.
You're sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure of that.
Okay. So do you have a privacy policy in place?
We have a
privacy policy. Data privacy policy in place.
We have something, but being in FI means we have to review it. We have something that was done for us by a law firm called Kusamatu and Kusamatu, but we definitely will review. That's why we've chosen one of the lawyers in FI to work with us.
That's fine. And then from your, I think you said something about return on investment. You said you needed about $200,000 or over $200,000, and then you said you have to, you conservatively promise that there'll be a return on investment of about north of $300,000. What do you mean by that?
Yes. That is, if we're able to get this. Hello, sir. The injection is for us to create more content because our own content is organic. We generate content. We have content providers working with us. We don't use existing contents where you get to WAEC or JAM. We pay for our content. So with this, we would have our own content. Then most importantly, technology. That has been our challenge. All that we've done in the last 2-3 years, we've done it offline. The platform that we were able to put together was just for a period. So technology has been a major challenge and technology can be expensive. So we need this funding to be able to have the platform offer us as good as AI that is able to, because we know from what we did in the past, that students that can come into the platform and work feedback from the assessment enables us offer upskill, offer better feedback to the school users. Like the schools we've worked with, from the report we did from our assessment, when they were scored immediately and they saw it, they said, okay, they are weak in certain areas, come in and work with us. So those feedback to analyze and get those things out is safer to use technology rather than what we've done in the past, have teachers assess and give us offline feedback. So technology.
All right, that's fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, one more question. Sorry, one more question.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so you have employees working with you. So I believe that you're doing this and then you have some value addition that other competitors would not have. And then it has to be a trade secret. Do you have any policy in place to protect such, like from your employees working with you, they know many of the things you're doing that gives you competitive advantage over other competitors? Do you have any policy in place to protect such?
We don't have that now. We will have that when we are done with if it is cancel. Because what we just tell them is the content that you have. Okay, some of this, part of what we've done is that the content providers, they make sure we have something that they sign off that the content they provide for us is not something that they provided elsewhere before. So we don't want to show when you come to the platform and you see a question here and say, oh, I saw it in JAM, or I saw it in WAEC. No. So we make them sign off that this content is not something you are bringing from somewhere. It's original and we pay you. So you sign off that if we have cause to see any content here, this one that has been used before, we take you off the system. We have that.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay, thank you, Temple. So mentors, please kindly rate him electronically. We'll quickly move on to the last founder for tonight. Olorufemi Medubin, are you ready for us? Otoban, please stop sharing your screen.
Okay, thank you.
Femi, are you ready? Femi, is Femi here? Okay, Femi, we can't hear you. Are you trying to speak? Hello? Femi, we can see your screen, but we cannot hear you. Or am I the only one who cannot hear him?
No, you're not.
No, I can't hear him either.
I can't hear him either.
What's going on? Hello, Femi.
If because of time, please stop him and let's move forward.
Okay. So
sorry, just change his name
with another. He just entered the. Let me see if. Hello, Femi. Can you speak now? Okay, we might have to move on. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for your pitches. Okay, so we move straight into the conversation for tonight.
Hello, please, can you hear me now, please? Hello? Sorry, I just have to find a rescue. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you, but we've moved on. What CFA, can we let him?
Okay,
I think it would only be fair that we let him since he has made effort.
Guys, always test your connection, guys. We don't have time. Always. All right, please, let's do it.
Sorry, my connection has been fine just before now. So prior to this moment, the name of my startup has been Meat Food. However, following the mental idea review, my name changed to Afiki. So Afiki is from farm to shelf, farm to retail, because we believe that the future of procurement is in retail. And basically the problem we are trying to address is with the procurement managers who want to assess packaged value-added livestock products. We have over 50,000 retail outlets in Nigeria that are doing over 160,000 USD annually in meat retail. And 80% of these procurement managers also find it very difficult to administer their procurement, leading to out of stock situation. So our solution that we're bringing up is creating a platform that can help them with automated procurement directly from farm to retail shelf. So we cut off the middleman. We also have an inventory system that can help them to forecast demand and trigger replenishment. So basically we are bridging the gap in food market security through our organized platform for easier, faster, and more cost-effective procurement. So basically that's our product. We are aggregating demand from the retail store, aggregating the supply from the farms, and link them to processors, use logistics partners to get this delivered to the outlet. So basically better inventory, easier negotiation, faster procurement. This is just some pictures of our sourcing and some of our products for now that we have in the trade. This is some of our third-party processor, this display freezer in some outlets, And our traction for currently we're doing about 7,000 USD monthly, and we have partnership ongoing with 6 processors with discussions at operational level. And we are currently reaching out to 68 outlets in Lagos, and we're forecasting to reach about 300 in 18 months. So our operational model is aggregation, basically the demand, aggregate supply. We ensure this is got to the retail end, and we're using a backward integration system. So our revenue model is transactional based and order to cash model for our household consumers. Basically, for our market, we're looking at about 4.9 million USD for our addressable markets. And in terms of our unique selling points, we have automated delivery, comparing us to our competitors, inventory management system that can forecast replenishment alerts, as well as home delivery for consumers that they can schedule to when they are available for delivery. For our go-to-market strategy, we use field sales representatives who organize detailing calls. So currently 68 outlets, we are discussing with other ones who are, those are our must-win battles. And we are negotiating with Aeropack. It's a local air freight logistic company that can deliver to cities in Nigeria where we have airports. So for fundraising, we're asking for 120K to enable us reach 320 customers in 12 months, generating $1.6 million. For the team, this is myself. I'm a food professional. I have experience in category management, experiential marketing, route to market development, and modern trade. And I also have on the farmers end who manages our farm discovery, Olushola Dele, who has been working in the regulatory segment and has experience about factory locations, farms, as well as health, safety, and environment. So basically, thank you.
Thank you, Femi. So mentors, anyone with feedback for him? Hello.
Well, yeah, this is Davidson speaking. For me, really, I was trying to follow this and see how, will I say, relevant now this is in terms of whether it is something new, something that is in demand. So maybe I'll ask Femi, why do you think that this is a problem that you want to solve?
Okay, why I think it's a
and
problem.
What makes your supposed solution more unique than anything that exists at the moment?
Okay. Basically, I'll be talking from my personal experience because currently we actually servicing these procurers. So we understand their need and we understand the strength of the competitors and we understand the weaknesses as a result of this strength of these competitors. So most of the competitors are not actually focusing on how to help the retailer manage their inventory, how to the needs of the retailer, really looking at what are their challenges and what are the moment of truth when it comes to meeting their needs in terms of they want to improve their finance, they want a system that can help them understand what they have in stock when it's out of stock. They want faster supplies. They also want to cut off middlemen. So we are giving a system that is helping them procure directly from farm to their shelf. So they get the cost benefits of that as well. So, and they have this replenishment alerts that can tell you, so you can actually have a platform where we help them to make projections. Okay, tell us all these SKUs, what do you think you can sell within this period? Then we look at, okay, let's look at what we can give you for a start. So they can easily monitor. For example, if you plan to sell a particular SKU, you plan to sell 20 units and you see that, okay, you plan to sell 20 units in 2 weeks and you're doing 10 units in a week. So you know, okay, maybe we need to increase our projection. So we are helping them really because we know that the bottom line for them is they want to really make profit. They want to generate more revenue. Basically. So that is what we are offering that the competitors are actually not doing presently.
So then it will probably mean that most of these guys are not your competition. Now, for instance, I'm trying to see how Farm Crowd is your competitor based on what you have described.
Okay,
do you think that you have looked sufficiently then at who your competitors are? There's Chi, for instance, there. Yes. And I'm wondering how they serve as your competitor.
Okay, for example, Chi supplies the same outlets, the same retail shelves that will have our products, using their own system, their method, their route to, they have a route to, each of these competitors have a route to market strategy. So we actually mapped their route to market strategy to really understand on the ground, on the field, how does this guy, how do they do it? Interviewed the procurers. Okay, how do you get this Chi order? Is there any way you can automatically order and get it delivered when you want it? They said, no, there is nobody actually really doing it. And if you look down, you see Meat Hut is actually doing it. However, the cost for the retailer, it's not really profitable. Looking at, you cannot sell you cannot overprice your products compared to what the shoppers are ready to pay. So for Farm Crowdy, they are doing a system whereby you can actually be like a supermarket. You can contact them. They tell you where their beds are. They can link you up to a processor if you want. And maybe you have your physical guys that goes on ground and get it done. So that in that way, they are kind of our competitor.
Okay, thank you.
Well, let me just say one thing on this. For me, I would probably say the strongest thing that you may have here, really, that I can see is your inventory management. So, if there's a way that maybe you can spin that off out of all this, but maybe I could always discuss with you later and just try and have further understanding on how you think these guys are actually in the same market as you. But those are my comments for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Davidson. So can we have one more mentor feedback, and then that will be that. Okay, looks like there is none. Okay, thank you, mentors. Please remember to rate him electronically. And then, so we come to the end of the hot seat pitches tonight. So quickly, we get into the next segment of this, which is the main conversation. I would like to request that our mentors put on their video so that we can have some human face to the conversation tonight. So tonight, to be discussing with, or to be answering our questions, are very seasoned, experienced, and highly accomplished lawyers from our three legal partners, the law firm of Benchmark and Inks, DOA Law, and LX, the law firm of LX. So tonight, in the chat box, because of our time, I would not start, I may not be able to start running through their profiles, but we will paste the profiles in the comment section so that you can understand the value that they are bringing to the table tonight. And that will also be evident in the conversation that we are going to have going forward. Okay, great. So quickly, I'd like to say that one of the things I have seen a lot of entrepreneurs, whether they are startup, whether they are doing a startup or SMEs, there's usually this confusion around business structure. So a lot of times people will tell you that they have a company, and then you ask them if it's a business registration, a business name registration they've done, or if it's a limited liability company, and they don't know. They just know that their business has been registered at CAC. And I have seen one or two people ask me that question too in the course of this program. So I think I'll quickly like one or two of our mentors to quickly just tell us what exactly is the difference between a limited liability company and a business name registration, and why is a business name registration not suited for the kind of business that they are trying to build, and what are the advantages of, you know, a limited liability company? Just very briefly to speak to that. So maybe Davidson, you want to respond to that?
All right, thank you, Ifedi. Yeah, so very quickly, a business name, of course, is a small business that is set up by probably one person or one or more people, you know. So your typical entrepreneur running a one-man business or a partnership. Of course, there are some businesses that can only be business names, you know. Then your limited liability company, of course, is when you have structure around it. So there is a company that is in law separate from the founders, you know. You could have, with the new Companies and Allied Matters Act now, you could have one or more persons as the shareholders and directors of a limited liability company. So that is the sort of vehicle that investors would typically be looking at for several reasons, of course. Not only is it a person, but then they are shareholders. So any investor will be taking up equity, which is another word for shares within the company. Now, when an investor comes in, then he would either be looking at probably debt, you know, that's giving you a loan, or taking up shares. Now, if he's giving you a loan, again, the company is even the best for you, because, and even though this is not the best thing that you can do, but in the eyes of the law, since the company is different from you, if the company, for instance, takes a loan of 20 million naira and is unable to settle the loan, it is the company that the investor would have to bring an action against to recover that money, and not you directly. Now, what you'll be required to do would be to pay up, if that happens, to the amount that you have taken up as a shareholder. So if it's a 5 million naira share capital company and you subscribe to, say, 200,000 naira, then generally that would be your liability in the event that the company cannot pay the 20 million naira that was given to it as a loan. However, there are situations where the corporate veil of the company can be pierced, and then issues around negligence for the directors and liability can also come into play. But generally, that is what you would see. Now, in terms of tax liabilities, you would have a situation where, with a business name, the tax that is paid, of course, is the tax of the individual or the partners who run the business name. With a limited liability company, the tax of the founders are different from the company's income tax that is paid by the company. The good thing, again, there with the Finance Act is that it now sets a cap on the amount that a company will pay, depending on the revenue that it generates. So where, for instance, the company's revenue is below the particular amount, then they may not even pay any taxes, although they'll have to file their tax returns. And then depending on whether they exceed that cap, it's now 20%, and where they exceed the further cap, then it's 30%. So there are still certain advantages around that. Besides, it's dependent on revenue. So that means that if you don't make any revenue, then the company ends up not paying tax. Now, back to the issue of equity for the shareholders. Again, now when an investor is coming in and is giving equity, then he's looking at a situation where his equity could vest at a particular period. He could give you maybe like that same 20 million naira, and he's looking at maybe in 5 years' time taking that out of, or it vesting at a particular time. You can only do that with a company limited by shares. You wouldn't be able to do that with a business name. Besides, again, the business name will be too unwieldy for them, because all they will probably be looking at is giving you money and then you paying them back. So I think, in a nutshell, those are some of the differences between a limited liability company and a business name. But for the founders at this moment, of course, definitely they should all be looking at having a company limited by shares. With regards to the share capital, that would depend on whether they are bringing in foreign investors. Under Nigerian law, once you have a foreign investor as a shareholder, the minimum share capital of that company should be 10 million naira. You know, of course, there are some industry-specific share capital limitations. For instance, if you want to go to be a finance house or a microfinance bank or certain types of fintechs that will be operating within those systems, you also need to look at the share capital, because some of them go up to 100 million, 200 million. So it all depends on the area that you want to set up. But, you know, generally 10 million for bringing in the foreign investor. Thank you.
Ifedi, you're muted.
My apologies, my apologies. Okay, so Temple, would you want to add anything to Davidson's response before we quickly move on?
Yeah, I think he did justice to that.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. All right, so the first question that I have here, so what I've tried to do, you know, some of the questions, they are interrelated, so I've tried to band the questions together so that, you know, we can get mileage on time. And so the hot news everywhere now, everybody is talking about it. We've had very, very intense, you know, very robust conversations around it here too, both alumni and the guys who are currently on this call. The current saga between Buki George of Health Plus and her investors, everybody is talking about it. Everybody is talking about it. And so I can sense that there is fear in the startup community because everybody is asking, so if that happened to a company after almost 2 decades and going on very strong, and then they raise funding, and in just 2 years, it looks like there's going to be a hostile takeover, and the founder is going to, and it doesn't even look like, you know, she's going to exit. It's not a strategic exit. It looks like she's just being forced out of the company, as it were. So the founders are asking that how can they retain control of their company even as they get diluted in funding rounds, you know? So as they keep raising, they do seed, they do pre-seed, they do Series A, Series B, and all of that. And then as each of these happens, there's a dilution going on. So what can they do to retain control of their company? And of course, what also, as a startup, you bootstrap. Sometimes the talents that you need are high-level talents, and you're not able to pay. You're not able to compensate or remunerate in cash, as it were. And so sometimes you might need to bring in, you know, employees at the early stage and give them stock options, you know, reward them with sweat equity and all of that. So the question is, how can a founder navigate that challenge of giving out equity and yet protecting their controlling interest in their company? Yeah, so Nii, maybe we should hear from you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that question. I know that the issues relating to the the founder in the pharmaceutical space, I think the first thing I'm going to say about that is that I don't believe that so I'm going to be very blunt. I don't believe that the founder did not get what he reckoned for. So what do I mean by that? So you have a situation whereby someone has said that he's going to invest X amount in your company, right? And from the get-go, so obviously I believe that it was a they sold some parts of their existing shares as well as they issued them new shares. My understanding of what also happened was that immediately they executed the documentation, So let's say the investor is supposed to give you, say, $15 million, and at the end of the day, they first gave you 10 million, and then they were supposed to give you 5 million over maybe when you meet certain KPIs. My understanding is, I need to be corrected. My understanding is that all the shares were allotted. Immediately they executed the documentation, which was wrong, number one. So if you have a situation whereby an investor is saying that, you know what, I'm investing this X amount in your company, what you should do is to ensure that it's based on those milestones that they are allotted shares, right? So if you don't meet those milestones, those shares should not be allotted. But unfortunately, that has happened. Another thing about it is that a lot of times, if you sell a majority to an investor, in truth, most of the time, and in terms, regardless of what documentation you have, you definitely have become a minority. So even if you have protections in whatever in your shareholders agreement relating to veto rights and things, the only thing that can really protect you at the end of the day are the obligations that are contained in those agreements that you have signed. If you don't have obligation, if the investor does not have obligations relating to relating to your investor rights or the obligations that they have in the agreement, what you find at the end of the day is that you become the minority, and in becoming the minority, you really don't have a lot of say. Going back to, if we go back to how do founders protect themselves? I think the first thing in terms of a founder is that you need to understand that an investor is coming into your company to make money, right? He's obviously using other people's money to invest in your company, and because he also has to make returns to where, I'll give you an example. Let's say it's a VC that's giving him money. He needs to make some monies, and whatever monies he's making, he wants to exit. It's not a friendship. If you have thresholds that you are supposed to make as a founder, if you are not meeting it, they are going to look for situations whereby they can bring people who can meet those expectations. I think I was speaking to some of the founders a couple of days ago, and I read a very interesting article by one of the professors in Harvard, and he said that, you know, founders have to decide whether they want to be wealthy or they want a kingdom. So at the end of the day, most times when you have a situation whereby you have your founders who are thinking, oh, you know what, I want to give X amount, I want to give a majority to an investor. A lot of times when you do that, if you do that, at the end of the day, you're going to be flogged and you're going to lose your shirt. So it's either you decide that, you know what, let's keep it simple. I want to keep control. In keeping control, you must ensure that whatever you're doing, you continue to maintain majority. If you do not maintain majority, a lot of times you're not able to keep control of the company, and you're going to lose your shares. So a summary of what I'm just saying is that in terms of your documentation, a lot of times when you say that you are looking at a situation where an investor is coming into you and wants to take a majority, I don't believe that is always the best situation for a founder. But again, it now depends on what level the founder is. As a startup, it does not make sense for a founder to basically take any investor on who will take on a majority. So I think that, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Ni. So, you know, while you were talking, you mentioned a couple of times that if you want to protect yourself, then you might need to make sure that you don't you retain your majority status, right? And in retaining majority status, it's probably making sure that you have enough shareholding that keeps you in the majority. Now, one of the questions that founders are asking is, because depending on where a business is and what their need is, sometimes it is inevitable for them that, you know, to sell majority holding and retain minority. Like in the case, you know, if we should use the Health Plus story as a case study, well, that is based on information that is in public domain. She had 48.2 or 48.5% in the holding company that invested in Health Plus, which clearly does not give her, you know, majority. But the question is, and maybe I should be asking Perenami to help throw light on that. Is it possible that even though you're selling majority, you know, you're selling your majority holding, but somehow you're still able to retain voting rights in such a way that you cannot be outvoted? Is there any way that that is possible?
Okay, let me give a practical, because the people listening to us are not lawyers. So let me try and break it down. Let me give an example of how that can work. So you might have, for instance, say you have 5 shareholders in a company. One has 55% shares, another has 20, another has 10, another has 5. Of course, 55% is in the majority, well, however way you like it. You know, if you combine everyone's shares, 55% is going to be more than the remaining 4 shareholders. Now, the best way to do it is to ensure that in your documents, in your shareholders agreement, your articles, you ensure that there is no circumstance where people vote by poll. Now, voting by poll means voting per the amount of shares that you have. So what you then do is you ensure that people vote per, you know, by show of hands. So whether you have 55%, you have 10%, one vote is one vote. Do you understand me? Now, like, let me take that again. Voting by poll, on the other hand, is when you vote, you know, by the number of shares that you have. If you were to do that, the person that owns 55% will, no matter what you vote, that person will always have the final say. Now, if you vote by a show of hands and there are 5 shareholders, another way that I would say that you should do it, of course, this is not in the books, but this is like in a strategy way. Ensure that the other people the other shareholders are on your side. Now, if you've attended board meetings or you've been involved with companies, they're always teams, or they're always that kind of dichotomy. Ensure that the remaining 3, you know, at least are on your side, such that if a decision were to be taken, now the ways you could do it is, if for instance it was your sister, or, you know, just ensure they're on your side. Now the way to do it is, if, you know, a decision were to be taken and people were to vote by show of hands, you are sure that you have yourself and the 2 other people, you know, or the 3 other people, whatever it is, you know. So you then have to ensure that your shareholders agreement, like I say, you ensure that there's no reason why they should be voting by poll. Now, you know, the last speaker had said it, if you're working with the private equity firms or these venture capitalists, you have to be careful. It's almost like dining with the devil and dining with a long spoon. You really need to be able to negotiate and be strong from the very beginning. It is rare for a venture capitalist or a private equity firm to come in and then you're saying they shouldn't want to take control. I mean, you are like a $1,000, you have $1,000 and somebody's bringing in $15 million, you know. So, but I mean, you just need to have like a solid legal team giving you solid legal advice and ways to protect yourself. Now, what some companies do as well is they look at different issues. For instance, they could say, if anything that pertains to a change in director or change in management, it must be by a show of hands, and, you know, the founding shareholder must have the final say, must have the vote, you know, that sort of thing. So those are sort of ways that you can protect yourself, or a founder can protect itself, despite having somebody else having majority of shares. But like I said, at the negotiating stage, you have to be very strong at that stage, because somebody else is bringing in a lot of money. So it's going to be, definitely, you are already in the minority just by the fact that he's bringing in money, and you're already negotiating from a disadvantage because you are begging the investor to come in. So, I mean, at that stage, it's really like tough, and that's where you need like as much legal counsel as you can get.
Yeah, let me add something to what. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Eteobong.
Sorry. Yes, my other colleagues have made exceptional points. But for me, I would like to be practical about it. So once you give, like they've said, once you've given out majority shareholding, the likelihood of you having control is very low. But however, there are certain steps you can take to have control. So putting it in context of founders at FI, one thing I would always advise is bootstrap until you have a very, very viable product. So when your product is very viable, it gives you a higher negotiating power, because all what you are saying boils down to negotiation with these guys, the private equity firms or venture capitalists. So, but when you have a viable product, you understand your product, your metrics or your numbers support your story, you are more likely to have a higher negotiating hand. Then another thing would be to understand this, your VC's model, to know how much control they usually exercise. So you might go into negotiations and they'll be telling you by way of mouth that, oh, we don't usually, we will not go into the business, we will not do anything, we just want you to take control, all we want is just, but then on the paper, it's saying something else. So you should be able to look at their historicals to know how they played with other startups. Then by that, you also know how to negotiate with them. Then also for serial entrepreneurs, I would say you should leverage on your round one success to better round two negotiation. So you're more likely to get better negotiation with a VC firm or angel investor whom you've collected money from before. You did business and you gave him his return on investment as at when due without issues. So you're more likely to go into negotiations with him with an upper hand. Then another thing would be to aggressively negotiate all contractual details. So to ensure flexibility. So for issues like transfer of shares, so you might have a situation where, yes, we know in your articles, usually there's a restriction on transfer of share, but you can always draft that restriction clause to be in such a way that it allows for flexibility. For example, let me make a situation of where a founder now wants to, so I'm talking about control. So, but now a founder wants to give out his shares to bring in a new team member. Yes. So because there's restriction, hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can go ahead and talk on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you need to wrap it up so we can move to the next question.
Okay. So I'm just giving an example on how you can aggressively negotiate the minor contractor details. So what you do, so in a situation where a founder is trying to onboard a new team member and is willing to give out his own share at maybe a reduced rate, so there might be a clause in the Articles of Association or the shareholders agreement that restricts such transaction. But if this had been negotiated before then to ensure flexibility, then it also allows that form of control in the company. Just to add to what has been said before now.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Eteobong. You see, one thing that keeps recurring in practically every mentor's response is your article. Now, it's very funny that there are founders on this call who have incorporated companies, and I am sure that they don't even know what a memorandum of association is. They don't know what an article of association is. They see the document, they know it's part of the documents they get from the lawyers, but they don't even understand the terms in those, they don't understand the clauses. And that's the problem, that's why I tell founders, it is from, the mistakes that will pull you down when you're big. It doesn't happen when you're big. It happens at the very inception, how you incorporated your company, the kind of clauses that went into your articles, the kind of clauses that were in your shareholders agreement. Founder said to me, these law firms are expensive, so let's use the cheaper ones. Then when we grow big and we can afford them, we can use the expensive ones. I can bet you that the reason why you may never grow big is because you used a cheap law firm who could not give you the right kind of advice that you need. So when the opportunity to grow big comes, there is something that keeps pulling you back. All right. So thank you for that. Temple, would you like to? So there are founders who are scared of especially at the pre-seed stage. They're just trying to, protect their, at this stage, again, a lot of founders are quite emotionally attached to their companies or their businesses. So they are scared about bringing in strangers. In fact, somebody told me, I have, well, my 1 million shares has been fully allotted between me and my children. And, we know that exists. And so for some founders, they want to raise money from family and maybe friends. Now, these are not hostile people, as it were, but somebody is asking, what is the safest approach around taking on small investment from family and friends? And, so in responding to that, respond around the context that there are some investors that will not invest in your business because the way you have, loaded your company membership is in such a way that it's a family business. So all the shareholders is father, mother, children, uncles, aunties, so how can founders be able to manage that balance between trying to raise from family and friends, not overloading the business in such a way that investors are scared, and of course, not creating the opportunity for undue interference, because again, family and friends have a way of interfering in business, especially when they feel that their money is there. So Temple, can you speak to that?
Okay, thanks, Ifedi. So in that instance, I think it's very, very simple. Founders most times when they are bootstrapping, especially when they get before they get pre-seed funding, they basically get support from the family and the friends. So the best advice I give to startups, particularly where I work with them, is that they should make sure that they have a pre-money evaluation of that company. So the startup has continued operation or has started operation. So there should be a pre-money valuation of the startup. There are so many mechanisms of calculating that, but the point is that have a pre-money valuation. And when you get support financially from a friend, a family member, or any person related to you, you find the worth in terms of share percentage of that particular support when you calculate the capitalization of a company. So if your company is worth if you have done your pre-seed valuation and then your startup before any funding round is worth about 10 million naira or 2 million naira, then you get support from your family or your friend, and say your family member or your father or your brother gives you 100,000 naira, then the percentage 100,000 naira is in 10 million. If your best friend gives you 1 million naira, you know that 1 million naira in 10 million pre-money valuation is about 10% of the company. So the point is that for any amount they give, for any support they give, financially or otherwise, let it meet the percentage valuation of your company in terms of pre-money valuation. I think that is the best advice I give to founders. And then, particularly in that instance, I think that one of the factors that also come into play is, notwithstanding the fact that you have your friend, your family that is supporting you, what you should also consider is what are they bringing to the company? Aside the fact that they're giving you support, do they have any personal brand? Are they influencers in their particular sector? If your family member is in a legal profession, or it's a medical doctor, or is in the financial services, is he someone recognizable in that sector? Does he have a personal brand that when an investor sees that, wow, this guy, for example, Shude in Red Media, or Ibijiola and formerly co-owner of Mandela. If Ibijiola is your friend and then he gives you money, notwithstanding the fact that the money might not meet the percentage evaluation of your company, the fact that he has a personal brand on his own, the fact that he has a personal brand on his own should also be a factor that would lead you to advancing equity to such person. So the personal branding that they have, that such person has, and then the other factor is what time are they bringing to your company? Are they coming to work with your company? Are they being full-time employees in your company? Are they being part-time employees in your company? What are they bringing to your company? And what would be the opportunity cost if they're giving you money and they're saying that aside this money I'm giving you, I would also want to work with your company for a particular number of years or a particular number of months, what are they leaving to work with your company? Is there any opportunity cost that would be a factor to also grant them some kind of valuable shares? So I think these factors are basically important when founders are looking at giving out shares to family members that will not be some sort of eyesore to invest with ABC branch of funding. So key points that the founder from a family member or a friend, let us support, match the valuation of that company. That's the baseline. So if they're giving you any money, you have to calculate it in accordance with the pre-money valuation of the company, so as not to advance shares that will be bloated in terms of value towards you're receiving from your friend or a family member.
Thank you so much, Temple. I believe that was quite helpful. So in other words, we can say that one of the things that might be a red flag for investors when they look at your cap table is that if it's overloaded with family, especially, there's a lot of, it will be a red flag. But let me ask Davidson, do you think that there are other things, and if there are, could you highlight one or two for us, other factors that might, be a red flag for investors when they look at a startup's cap table that might, are there other things that might make them wary of investing in such a startup?
Well, I think Temple has actually covered a good number of them. Of course, they would definitely want to look at the founders' agreement, almost like what he referenced, to see what the rights and possible liabilities of each present shareholder is. And it's very important, of course, even from the foundation, to have the right type of agreement that captures the shareholding rights and powers of each shareholder. So I believe another thing that they would want to look at are issues around ownership of intellectual property. Some people tend to downplay those kind of situations, but we've had a situation. We recently did an acquisition of Chi by Coca-Cola, and the intellectual property rights of Chi were, in fact, it ran into millions of dollars. That even the Chi guys were surprised that they had such such value over their IP rights. So again, they would want to find out, number one, who owns these rights, because you see, you could have founders who actually have a stake in those IP rights. So it may not even belong to the company, they may belong to the founder. So they need to find out who owns those rights. It may be licensed, even though it may belong to that company, they may have licensed it to another company, or they might have even used it as some form of collateral for a loan. So all of those things too are some of the issues that the investor will be looking at. They will also be considering, if they come into this business, what is the level of exposure that they will suffer? Like they said, family and friends are already in there. How would it affect them in the long run if one family member decides to arise and say, no, that was the one who did this, at that particular time? But I think Temple has covered quite a number of them. But I just think that those are some of the issues. Very important that if anybody is bringing in sweat equities at the beginning, that is well captured already. It could be with the founders agreement or even with a partnership agreement, but all of those things need to be clearly defined from the onset so that you don't get into this kind of situations down the line.
Hello, Ifedi, can I just add something to that? Can I add something to that?
Very briefly, please.
Okay, yeah, very briefly. Apart from all the points they've made, so investors will be, when looking at your cap table, they are also looking to see how operational founders, as your other co-founders or employees, are being incentivized. So if you have founders who are working very hard to bring the company to life, or employees who are putting in a lot to do the job of establishing the company. But yet these guys are not incentivized in terms of issuing of equity. It raises a red flag. So because there is a likelihood that this employee who is not properly incentivized might likely leave the business at any time for better opportunities. So it is always important that where you have founders, operational founders and employees giving in a lot to the business, that you properly incentivize them. It gives the investors that hope that they work for long.
Yeah, thank you, Eteobong. Yeah, that was quite insightful. So I was looking for me. I think
dropped out a bit, Fedi. So I think I dropped out. I lost the connection a bit. So I'm just back. Just wanted to let you know. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was just saying now that I was looking for you, but I can see you're back. So let me ask you, and this will be, well, for now, if we have time, we can come back to questions around investors and all that again, but this will be the last question around it. So what would be your advice to a founder when allotting shares at incorporation? Is it advisable to allot 100% of the shares and then hope that you start from that early stage to dilute, or is it more advisable to have some percentage of the shareholding unallotted so that early stage investors can get holding from there? What's the best advice around that?
Okay, so for me, I think that the most important thing, I mean, if you're a startup, I don't think that you should allot all your shares. I think that from the get-go, maybe you should try to have like a safe agreement with your investors, depending on whether they're angel or VC. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. And I think that a lot of times, a lot of founders from the get-go, they allot all their shares out. And when it's time to basically now get VCs or proper or HNIs in the business, I mean, there are no shares to allot. And then, so what I'm saying is this, because as at the time you're issuing and allotting shares, the company has not been valued, right? My suggestion, and it's a lot of things, it's kind of what we tell a lot of our startup clients, that you have safe agreements that you can use. So it's basically a simple agreement for future equity, because at present time, there's no valuation of the business. If there's no valuation of the business, on what basis are you issuing shares? So it helps you to basically have a conversation so that when these people, I mean, basically when you're doing a proper round, maybe you're doing a proper funding round, these people can now get in on a discounted basis. Because at that time, there's a valuation of the business, you know how much you're looking for, and then it just, in terms of the mechanics, everything works better that way. So for us, what we usually advise for startups is to say that, you know what, depending on where you are and what you're doing, it makes sense to look out to have a simple agreement for future equity for and again, another thing about it is that if you're adamant and saying that you want to allot, we don't believe that you should allot all shares, but again, the paramount consideration, don't forget, for investors when they're investing, is what is the value of the business? Pre-money valuation, post-money valuation. If they are not clear about that, I mean, there's nobody, because like I always say, and it's what I tell people, we've represented both investors and investees, we know what the landmines are. The number one consideration, apart from ensuring that the founder is aligned with the business, is to understand what exactly is the valuation of the business, because that is the money. That is really what it is. So for us, or for me, what I would say, the number one consideration is that I don't think that as a startup, the first thing you should do is to say, oh, you want to allot all your shares. I think that at present, especially if you have small investors who are looking to invest, whether family or friends or maybe angel, you should just try and get this. And you know, it's a simple agreement. It just shows that, oh, at the next round or at the funding round, when there's valuation, X amount of money, I'll get this discount, and you know, but it shows that, you know, it's like a deposit for shares. That's really what it is. That's what I'll say.
And you know, it's already been used. Obviously, we know that it's from Y Combinator, and we're doing a lot of that in Nigeria right now. We're doing a lot of that in Nigeria right now. So I don't know whether you want to ask.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. This was quite, I'm sure this is very helpful. The good thing, you know, I'm enjoying this session because I feel that for the first time, we're actually cracking this thing and we're speaking to the real needs of the founders. And I can even see that while the whole conversation is going on, there is a side conversation also going on in the comment sections, and I'm excited about that. I see you there, Perenami, thank you. You know, founders are asking questions, are getting answers there. So I'm glad that, you know, we're maximizing our time. So quickly, let me move on from conversations around founders. Let's look at, I have a couple of interesting questions around company structure. This founder is asking, okay, so he's asking what do you do when you have a director who is a non-citizen? What kind of registration would you require? So before I throw that question to the mentor who can help us answer that, I would like to also add that in answering the question, so let's differentiate between, you know, the requirements for a non-citizen who is a director but who lives or is going to live in Nigeria and, you know, work in the business. What kind of registration and what kind of regulatory compliance issues surround that? And then another scenario where it's a non-citizen who is a director but is not resident in Nigeria. So how do, you know, in both scenarios, what kind of, well, not exactly, the question shouldn't be what kind of registration, but, you know, what are the requirements that you need to meet to be able to successfully register the company? I'm thinking Perenami should help us, you know, with that question.
Let me throw that to Davidson. It actually answered that question in the beginning. It answered it, but let me throw it open to Davidson.
Okay, yeah, okay. Very quickly because of time. So yes, so the two scenarios have different requirements more or less. So where the director will not live and work in Nigeria, then simply just register him without any fuss at all. However, of course, don't use a Nigerian address for him, because when you use a Nigerian address for him, then it's flagged by the CAC, because then that presupposes that he's living in Nigeria. So for instance, if one of the shareholders, if one of the directors is based in the US, lives and works there, but is a director in your company, then you simply indicate that he lives in the US, put that on your documents, and then file them. It's fine. There are no additional requirements for that. However, if he is going to be coming to Nigeria to live and to work, then that's where you will require an expatriate quota for him, which is to allow him work, and then subsequently you will now get what is called SEPA, that is a combined expatriate resident permit and alien card that would allow him to live and work in Nigeria. It's renewable over the period of time. Of course, before he gets the SEPA, in the country where he lives, he will need to go to the Nigerian embassy there and get what they call a subject to regularization visa, or an STR visa. And that would allow him to come to Nigeria. Of course, there are different types of visas and permits which the founders need to be aware of so that they don't mix them all up. But for a director who will live and work in Nigeria, then he needs to get an expatriate quota and SEPA, all right? Which is different from a business permit, of course, which is what you get when you have foreign shareholders in the company.
Okay, thank you, Davidson. So there's this other question that's saying the company is, you know, one of the founders is incorporating a company that is supposed to serve as a sustainability plan for an NGO. So I guess that will mean that the company was set up so that they can make profit and then fund the operations of the NGO. So the question, there are two questions around that. One, should the members of the board of trustees of the NGO automatically be adopted as members or, as directors of the company? Or can they be different people? What are the considerations around that? And then secondly, should it appear in the objects of the incorporated company that this company, that is going to make money for an NGO, stuff like that? So I'll just leave it open. Anybody who has an answer, any of the mentors who has an answer to that can take a go at it.
Can I answer the first part of the question?
Please go ahead.
Okay. On the issue of directors and trustees, so I would not want to say you can automatically appoint them, right? So if these guys are trustees in the NGO and you want to make them directors, some of the things you should consider first is, does this person have the skill, the required skill to run that business, this other profit making business? Does he have the skill? Does he have the experience? Then also you need to consider whether or not he has any legal restriction, either by law or by contract. So is there any contract that restricts him from becoming a director in a private company or a profit-making company or organization? Then you're also looking at if he has the qualification as stated under the Companies and Allied Matters Act. So we are looking at, is he of sound mind? Is he of age? Is he hope he's not bankrupt and stuff like that? So those are the things you need to consider. So you don't just automatically make them directors. So you need to be sure that they have these requisite skills and are not restricted by law. On that question, I also saw the issue of tenure. I don't know if you spoke on that. Tenure, where they asked whether or not since the tenure of the trustee is fixed, what happens when the trustee leaves the non-profit organization? So on that, I also said that on the issue of tenure, they are not necessarily tied together. However, by way of contracts, that can be done. So they can have an agreement where you say, oh, for being a trustee in this, at the point where you're trustee, so it's about calculating the time to ensure that at the point when his trusteeship is ceasing, and that's the point where you want to remove him as a director. So it's not necessarily tied together, but there can be a contract or any other agreement to that effect.
Okay, thank you, Eteobong. So any other mentor, just maybe one more response to this?
Yeah, I wanted to add, if it's 1 minute, yeah. So I wanted to add that it would really depend on the model, on the business model, in determining whether you want to bring in, you want to mention, for instance, a non-profit organization in your objectives. So, because, and I say this because sometimes there are tax implications with being affiliated with a non-profit organization. That's one. The second thing is, if you're really looking for investors, then you need to really look at it properly. Will your potential investors be interested in your non-profit organization? Because ultimately you're going to tie yourself with that in your object. So those are the two things I wanted to say. It might not be a clear cut yes, no. You need to understand your model, where you're going to, what the tax implications would be, and what the potential requirement, potential thoughts of potential investors would be with respect to that non-profit organization. It's not really a direct answer. You need to really look at your model to know, what to do with it.
Okay, thank you, Perenami. Yeah. Someone wants to say something.
I wanted to just say something. Yeah. So I agree with Perenami, and for that founder, really, it depends on what he wants to do. Even if you don't indicate it in your memorandum and articles, you can still donate to the charitable organization. So you don't need to put that there and then restrict yourself to that reflecting in your objects in the first place. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you so much, Davidson. So I feel so terrible because we don't have time, and we have a lot of questions, and most of them are very, very interesting questions. But I'm glad that, you know, the mentors, you have access to these questions, and not only that you have access to these questions, but you have the benefit of context because you know who is asking the question, you know what their vertical is, you have a brief description of the business they are building. And so this will help the engagement that I believe will happen starting from tomorrow. I know some of them have already started contacting, you know, some of the firms. Some have already started getting letters of engagement. And I am sure that after today, that a lot of that engagement is going to continue. So we may just not be able to take all the questions as we are pressed for time. But I'll just take one or two more questions around intellectual property, so that we could, let's be sure that we touched a couple of areas tonight before we leave. So how can a founder who is, how can a founder secure and protect a trademark internationally? How can a founder, protect trademark internationally? Niyi. Oh, okay, so Niyi, yeah, maybe Niyi, you can chip in, and then after that, maybe Temple should also say something to that. Hi, Niyi, are you here?
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you now. I think
okay, so the first thing is, it's important to know that trademarks are territorial, and in order to protect your trademark, I mean, you need to register in all countries, right? So, so what do I mean by that? So you have your, I believe that a lot of us know, I mean, the founders know what a trademark is, and basically it's, if you're looking to basically protect your trademark, it's important to basically register it all around Africa, especially if you're going to, I mean, I'll give you an example. I know that some of the founders have mentioned to me that some of them that have contacted me, they're saying that they want to do business around Africa. So in those jurisdictions that they operate, it's important that they basically go and register their trademark, especially, so you have, in relation to trademarks, you have both the OAPI and you have the English-speaking side and the French-speaking side. So it's important that once you do your registration, you're very clear about what you're doing. A lot of times, what most founders will do, they'll say that because of, or they think that, oh, in terms of cost, they may not necessarily want to. But if you're going to be international, I think that the approach to take is that, you know what, as you go into different jurisdictions, it's important to go and register your trademark. I'll tell you a very, very, very short story. Many years ago, where I used to work before, there was a name, there's a company called, I probably won't mention their name here, but they had, what they found was that they were coming into Nigeria and they wanted to register their trade name. But by the time they got into Nigeria, another company had gone to register the trademark. And what they now had to do at the end of the day was to negotiate with that company to basically get that trade name and trademark back. So a lot of companies, a lot of founders are looking at this state that, you know what, right now we don't have so much money. It's not very commercial for us to do that. But again, you don't want a situation whereby you become a big name and then by the time you're ready to go into those countries, somebody else is already using the name and you haven't protected it. So for us, what we say is that because trademarks are territorial, it's important to obtain your trademark from the various registries that in the countries that you will be operating under.
Okay, thank you, Niyi. So Temple, so maybe I should just ask a second part to that question. So this founder is asking, how can I protect the company from a trademark infringement suit? How can I, I just, if I were to be based, I'll say by simply not infringing anybody's trademark. That's the only way to protect, but let me hear and see. Maybe there's something else to add to that. So how can you protect the company from infringement suit?
All right, so before I answer that, I'd just like to chip in with what Niyi had said. You did a good job there, but I don't chip in that there is what they call traits. trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. So it's a treaty, it's an agreement that is being signed by all the members of World Trade Organization. As Lee rightly pointed out, trademark is territorial, so sometimes it will mean that you have to register it in all the countries you intend to have operations in. But by TRIPS just means that for all the members that are signatories to TRIPS, if there is any of their citizens that has protected their intellectual property, particularly trademarks in their country, then for the fact that they have members who are signatory to TRIPS, the intellectual property rights will have effect in all those countries signatories to an agreement. So it just means that they have an agreement that has been signed by members of the World Trade Organization that would give effect to the fact that any of the individual members that has subsisting trademark rights, that trademark rights, notwithstanding the fact that it is territorial, would also have effect in all the countries signatory to the agreement. So Nigeria was, had been a signatory to the agreement before it so heavily. That's just something I want to just add to what Nia rightly said. Then for as to your question, how would the company protect itself from intellectual property infringement? So basically, a company would have what they call a contract of service for the employees, or they are engaging independent contractors for hire. So for a contract of service, by the Copyright Act, if you're looking at copyright infringements, it just states that for the creators are basically the owners, the economic and rural owners of the work. And what we need to do is that whenever the employee that assigns the intellectual property rights in any creation done during the course of employment. So the Copyright Act recognizes that first creations of works are the owners of the works. So for you to, because of employment, so for you to now protect yourself, once you employ people, include a clause in the employment contract that states that during the course of this employment, if you do anything during the course of the employment using our services and any other thing, then this intellectual property right has been assigned to a company. So that is the way a company can protect itself from intellectual property infringement suits where they have employees. Same thing also applies to contractors. Basically, the right basically states that if you commission someone for your work, that is a contract for service, independent contractor, the copyright resides with the person who commissioned the work. Though, but to have an abundance of caution, it is also a ethical practice to also include a clause of assignments of IP rights in a contract for service agreement. That means an independent contractors agreement. So, like I said, the basic line is that when you employ people, when the company employs people, include a clause that assigns IP rights to the company during the course of the employment, and then when the company commissions people to do a particular work, then out of abundance of caution, even though the act grants them the IP rights in those works, out of abundance of caution, it could also include a clause that also assigns the intellectual property rights that will be created from that service to the company.
Okay, thank you, Temple. So this next question.
Sorry.
I think so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I say something concerning TRIPS? Because it's important that we don't get things wrong. I think Ni basically summarized it well. TRIPS is there, but trust me, if you register your trademark in Nigeria on the basis of TRIPS, you don't have sufficient protection anywhere beyond Nigeria. It is territorial, and that's the general principle. Now, even though Nigeria has signed TRIPS, we've not domesticated it. And there are a number of countries too that have not domesticated it. So that's why you need to look for other ways of also protecting your trademark in other jurisdictions where you know that you would have business eventually. And like Ni had said, OAPI and ARIPO is what you would typically use for the African continent. Now, Nigeria and South Africa, which are arguably the most important economies in Africa, are not signatories to ARIPO. So that means that you will need to register in Nigeria and South Africa if you want protection there. Now, with OAPI and ARIPO, there are a number of countries that you can tick and say that I want these 16 countries that are signatories to OAPI, and then they will register them in those countries for the fee. There's also what they call the Madrid Protocol, which covers parts of Europe and parts of Asia and some parts of the Americas as well. So please, TRIPS should not give you protection beyond, you cannot get protection beyond the one that you've done in Nigeria. If you're looking at protecting outside, then you would need to register in those other jurisdictions. I feel it's necessary that we emphasize that point.
Thank you, Davidson. So you see my problem with lawyers, all these lawyers. What is, I'm hearing one day and Taribo or something. Is it, you know, and then I'm hearing Madrid. I thought Madrid was a football club or something. I don't understand. So guys, some of the things you're hearing now, your family lawyer has not said that to you, and guys, it is very important that you're working with a law firm that can give you the kind of protection that you need. I'm so excited, you know, that this conversation is ongoing, and I'm glad that we chose to do this as opposed to you know, having presentations. So this next question, which is the second to the last, I would ask the founder who sent in the question to ask it, or you know, to make some clarification, because she's asking who will own the intellectual property rights in the work that is done on their platform. But I'm thinking that her platform is a platform that connects freelancers to people, you know, to entrepreneurs or whoever who wants to get a job done. So I do not know if she's trying to own the intellectual property rights in the work that is being done for clients who come to look for freelancers on their platform, or she's trying to ask another question that I don't understand. So I'll just give her 30 seconds to clarify that question. That is if she's still on the call. Uju,
yes, I'm here.
Okay, great.
So when people come to the platform and they're trying to get work, now the employer is ultimately going to want the rights. And I think something that I think it was Mr. Davidson that just said that we should make sure, or the lawyer before, that the right is enshrined in the agreement, so that the employer is the one who owns the right to the intellectual property.
Okay, so basically you're asking how to make sure that the rights belongs to you, the company.
Yes. The freelancers provide the service, but we want to ensure that we are the owners of the IP, so nobody comes tomorrow to sue the company to say, oh, I wrote that book. So if you have like ghostwriters.
Okay, fine. So I'll throw that back to the mentors, but I'm just wondering, the right, should it be yours or should it be the right of the person who commissioned the work? You know, so if for example, I want to author a book and I need ghostwriters, I come to your platform and I pay you to connect me to ghostwriters, and then they do the work, the intellectual property in that work, you now want it to become yours as opposed to becoming mine. You know, I wanted to be sure that that's the scenario that you're painting. But yeah, so let the mentors speak to that. Tom, do you have anything to say? Eteobong. Okay, looks like he's not here. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Eteobong, go ahead. Okay, I think his network. Okay, Nee.
So for me, what I think is this: I think that there's nothing impossible. The founder has said that. Okay, so what she would like is that she would like the IP to belong to her. I mean, if she has it in the T&Cs and everything is drafted, so whoever is coming to subscribe or would understand that, okay, you know what, this is, it's like saying that when you have your normal exclusion clauses, when you go to, I'll give you an example. Say you're going to make a post, and at the end of the day, those exclusion clauses already tells you that, oh, I'm going to be liable for this, I'm not going to be liable for this. So what am I saying? I'm saying that if you want the IP to belong to you, obviously you have it in your T&Cs, and whoever is coming on the already sees that and say, and basically, I mean, once they accept that, okay, you know what, based on what is contained here, this is what we want to do, and this is what the owner of the platform has said. My belief and from my experience is that, you know what, once they sign up to it and everything is clear, I mean, it's pretty much easy, and it's to say that, you know, it belongs to Uju, just based on the T&Cs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other mentor wants to respond to that?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so sorry I got off at some point. So for me, yes, Mr. Ni just made a very good point, but then we need to look at it from a transactional angle. As an author, will I want to go and publish in a platform where I get to lose my intellectual property right? So apart from wanting to get this right, you should be looking at it from the business angle. What will your competitors do in the same scenario? So it's not just about wanting to own those IP right. It's fine if you can. It's good to own them. But then what are your competitors doing in regards to that? So you should also consider that while making that decision.
Yeah, just to add something. Statutorily, once you commission a work that is copyrighted, it belongs to the commissioner. The person who commissioned the works automatically, statutorily owns copyright to that item. But like I said initially, you can, out of abundance of caution, include it in that contract, in that independent contractor's contract of the freelancer, that anything he does during the course of the contract is now being assigned to the company. And also, like Tom said, if it makes business sense that the IP rights should not belong to the company, then the contract between the company and the freelancer should state that clearly, that the IP right belongs to the freelancer if it makes a better business sense to the company. But statutorily, once you commission a work that is copyrighted, then it belongs to the person who commissioned the work, except they otherwise agree.
Yeah, but I thought that was the question that she was asking.
Yeah, so Temple, I think that's exactly what
that's what she was asking now. Sorry, Freddy. I just thought that what the lady was asking in terms of the founder was to ask that, you know, is it possible for her to own it? And I think that we're just going around and my view, and it continues.
That's what he has said. So if the terms and conditions, then you waive the saying. Okay, so my only fear is that it looks like Uju wants to build a rogue platform where she wants to collect everybody's IP in the world. I'm afraid. You know, so I'm glad that Eteobong was able to contextualize it, you know, from a business standpoint. Will your computers fold your hands and watch you do that? But again, I see that she's making a point in the comment section, which might make sense. So it looks like that could be a strategy to make sure that people who commission jobs get to pay and all of that. I don't know, but you know, that's conversation that can be ongoing during office hours. We can talk about that, and then with the mentors too, you can discuss that. There's also a variation on that question in the comment section. So you know, if any of the mentors are able to, they might be able to speak to you know, to respond to that in the comment section, because all the founders are also seeing the conversation going on there. So the last question I want to ask, and I'll leave it open, any of the mentors can answer that. What is the advantage of a convertible debenture stock agreement? How advantageous is it to the founder, you know, in terms of you know, investment, raising support for their business? Hello?
We can all hear you. Well,
okay.
In terms of it being advantageous, I mean, yeah, I was waiting to see if anybody would pick it up, but no. Yeah, so in terms of it being advantageous, well, I think it depends on what the founder is looking for, really, because what a convertible debt stock agreement basically means is that at a particular time, the founder, the investor's equity, which came to you as some form of debt, will eventually kick in, and he becomes a shareholder in the company and takes up shares. You know, so I think it depends on number one, what are the terms behind that agreement? Is it fair enough for you? Is it what you consider as good enough for your business? So are the funds that you are expecting to get from the investor sufficient for you to go into that sort of arrangement whereby you will be losing a part of your equity at the end of the day? And you would juxtapose that with not taking up that arrangement and then proceeding with bootstrapping or looking for different types of arrangements. Really, the advantage that I even see is that the equity doesn't kick in immediately. So if, depending on the terms, you could probably pay back at some time and then the person goes his way. If they don't pay back, then that's when the equity kicks in. So if any advantage in that sense is what they're looking at, then that is the advantage. Raise the money, scale, and then pay back before the timeline for the kicking in comes in. You know.
Great. Any other response to that? So because actually that's what I was so because it's more like, not exactly, but you know, loosely, it's more like a futures contract. So this person has an instrument that confers some rights to him, but that right is in abeyance. He can't exercise that right. So a convertible debenture stockholder, for example, cannot exercise voting rights in your company until he exercises that right to convert the debt to equity. So it's one of the best ways, I believe, for founders, you know, so that you don't have, you're scared of too many people coming into your business. So if you can get convertible instruments as opposed to outright equity, you know, granting of equity, I think that will be helpful for the founder. So at this point, I will sadly, even myself, you know, like I said earlier, it's about 5 years plus that I started interrogating the whole startup construct and the body of knowledge. And I can say that the conversation here tonight has been very enlightening for me, very helpful, very insightful. I've learned a lot, and I can now imagine what it meant for the founders, especially because we were answering all the questions that we've answered tonight are questions that came from the founders. So I want to say a very big thank you to the mentors. It's been a very long stretch, and I'm grateful that all of you have been here with us from the beginning, except for Chika, who had another engagement and she had to really, you know, she had to excuse herself and leave. But Ni has done a very fantastic job of representing the firm very well. So I want to thank you all for being with us. I want to thank you for your insights and your responses to our questions. And then I want to encourage the founders to, you know, from tomorrow, you can reach out so again, you don't have to be scared. There are some founders that have, you know, come to me to say, I am not ready to, you know, we are still trying to do proof of concept. So we're not ready to launch till maybe in about 18 months time, in about 12 months time. And I don't want to go to, we've researched all these law firms. They are big money law firms. You know, we don't want to go there and then start accumulating debts that we, so I'm encouraging, and I'm saying that because the founder, you know, the mentors, those law firms are here listening to me. So if I'm misrepresenting them, they should tell us. But I can say that none of them is every one of them, they are willing, they understand that you're a startup. So at least that first conversation with them, you're not going to pay to have that first conversation, to even understand what you're building, what your needs are, and then see the kind of services that you need, and then begin to talk around that. If there are services that have to happen later, then that's fine. But do not because you're scared of what costs that you will incur, you don't even go to have that first conversation. You might be shocked that the kind of billing that you will get is not what you thought. Because like I said, I am very sure that each of these firms, they have a startup practice, they've been representing startups, and they understand that the startup construct is quite different from the SME and the big business conversation. So thank you once again for tonight. And founders, please make sure that you go back to your assignments. The heat has turned up again. The holiday is over, and it's going to be, in fact, if you look at your mental idea review assignment, it's almost like a special assignment, and it's going to be like that, almost till mentor progress review. So I want to encourage you, put in your best, and you will not regret it. So TFA, would you want to say something before we wrap it up? We call it a night.
No, just to say thank you to our mentors, and thank you, Fedi. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you, appreciate the founders. Have a good night, everyone. Keep building. Don't stop building. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you, everyone. Do have a good night, and please do not dream about contracts and lawyers tonight. Just sleep well, and then continue building tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Good night. Thank you.